You said that you love winning. What drives you more, the love of winning or the hate of losing?
Maybe equally, maybe both. I don't like losing, and I do like winning.
Say his name and he appears.
This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Winning Tonight. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you are all doing and living well. And welcome to the show. Let me start the show off as always by thanking those awesome people out there in the winner's circle who make it happen month in and month out. You are part of the solution, and your names are scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Thank each and every one of you for supporting the channel and all you do. And a big thanks to Shelly Wolfram and Ronnie Jam for supporting us over on Rumble as well. And you can do that too. Yeah, away we go. We are broadcasting live tonight on Rumble, YouTube, and X. And yes, indeed, we are here and we are winning every night for you guys. Absolutely. This is Winning Tonight. Tonight, we're going to go over the top news and updates, of course. Lots to talk about there. And we'll check in on some awesome White House press conference and executive order press conference. A lot of big stuff happening today. That's really exciting. And the most transparent administration perhaps in the history of mankind. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think there's been a more transparent administration ever. You literally have access to them every single day. And questions asked, questions answered, updates given. We just keep on winning. That's right. Let me say hello to these awesome VIPs out here in the front row, and then I've got some big announcements for you. Big announcements about the channel. So you're gonna want to stay tuned and check these out. Of course, promises made, promises kept. That's what I gotta say tonight. We're gonna have some fun. But hey, let me start off by thanking Wolfram. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for dropping these links. And guys, remember when you're here, very important. Always listen to the Wolf. He knows what he's talking about. He wipes his paws, he lopes in, and he howls. And that's how you know the Alpha Mod is in the house. Heidi, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Thanks for holding it down over on the Rumble side for us. MJ, hello. How you doing? Good to see you, MJ. Happy that you're here. Roscoe Treat. Good evening, Roscoe Treat. How have you been? Good to see you out there in Nampo, Idaho, on a Samsung Galaxy, man. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Cool Gamer 2, Cool Gamer 2, don't matter. It's Cool Gamer, guys, and he's here. Thanks for being here, Cool Gamer. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well and excelling at whatever you're doing these days, man. Snipe Hunter, what's up over there? He's over here on the YouTube side right now. There's Snipe Hunter. Howdy. He says howdy to all the winners. And there's Serene Pickle. How's it going? Woohoo! What's up over on the Rumble side? Guys, thank you so much for being VIPs in the front row tonight. Very much appreciated. And remember, you guys over on Rumble, you guys are very important people. You need to make sure that you get us out in the algorithm by smashing the base button, the thumbs up button, the winners button. That's what you do to get us out there in the algorithm on the Rumble side. It helps so much. And of course, everybody here on the YouTube side as well. Make sure you're hitting that winner button, that base button, that thumbs up. And then if you're not based and you're not a winner, there's a button for you too. But as long as you're tuning in and giving me the view and the engagement, you help the channel out. So, thanks. All right, guys, tonight, lots of news to cover. But before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping here. Now, I have been doing a little channel research here. All right, little channel research, and I have found out what you guys like to super chat about. Not so much asking questions, so sometimes it is. Maybe it'll go that way eventually, but usually you just want me to play a clip for you, right? And that's pretty much what it is about. Well, I talked to you guys last night about on Unrigged the Game, where we read the first chapter of first two chapters of The War on Warriors by Pete Hegseth. Great book so far, guys. Whoa. I'm out of the gate. I didn't know what to think of this, what it would be like. But out of the gate, super based and super fun and super conversational writing, and it's very much a fun book. It's been fun so far. Everybody that came really enjoyed it. If you are a veteran or active military, you want to be with us for reading this book. You want to be with us for this book, especially. So if you haven't yet, you can catch up by going to Rumble and check out the playlist and catch last night's show. And you can catch up with us next week. We'll be reading chapters 3 and 4. All right. So again, back to the housekeeping. We have new super chat videos. We do. All right. And the way that I've done these is I've created different videos for different tiers of super chats, right? So you have your basic $5 and under super chat, which is going to be consisting of the one that we know. And of course, Shelly's going to keep hers. She always has hers, right? But the one that we know, and then a new one. All right. So that I call that the Zach level. Zach likes to usually do this $2 to $3 super chats. So that's the Zach level, right? He's pretty good about that, which I appreciate. And of course, I will keep tally too, so you can tally up. You can tally up as well if you like to make smaller super chats. You can tally up. But then you got a $5 level, and there's a tally up on that too. So depending on if you're at the $5 levels, there's $10 levels, all right, and there's a couple tally ups there. What I would call like the $15 tally up level there, where you can unlock, and every time you move up, you unlock a better video. You unlock a better video and new faces. But if you tally up, there's a special tally category around 15 or so. That will be quite engaging. And then if you're really a high roller, you get into the high roller categories. You get to unlock some of the very extra special super chats as well. And just to reiterate, you know what? We can all appreciate beauty, can't we? We can all appreciate it. And we like to have a good time here and show our human side. And so I have come through for you guys on this. I've come through for you guys on this, but you know what it takes to get there. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me say hello to a few people and I'll get to that. First $20 super chat from T-Rex. He's not even messing around, guys. He's not even messing around. All right, so and I hope everybody enjoys the fun here, because I got to figure out how to make this work, man. So if this helps, this helps. All right, so let's see. Oh, hey Ellie, how you doing? Just cleaning up after dinner. All right, good. Madcore, you're just in time for the show. How's it going, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you, my brother from down under. Making it happen. Super based and super awesome dude from down under. That's Madcore Mofo. I always want to call you Madcore Mofo because that's how I met you. All right, let's see. Anybody else? T-Rex, here he is. More readers. More tonight is back on the road, baby. Oh yeah. See, it feels good to get back on the road. You start to miss it, don't you? You start to miss it. Okay, MJ. Okay, here we go. Oh, and there's Sparrow. I'll say that's not 20 apples. Yeah, well, he's getting ready to get quite an apple. All right, and there is Cynthia Fire Fairy 42 reporting the chat. Oh, great. I'm glad you got the notification. Awesome. All right, guys. So here we go. Unlocking the first $20. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Let's do it like this. Okay. So I have these kind of organized. Let's see. Let's unlock 20. see, unlock this one. Yes. Okay. So T-Rex has unlocked our first 20 super chat, $20 level. Here we go. All right. T-Rex trucking and more. Let's find out what 20 is. There's one of them. And they have some level ups too. On that. And let's see, we got a $2 super chat coming in. Here we go. All right, Snipe Hunter unlocks a $2 super chat. There we go. We having fun yet? Are we having fun yet? All right. Thank you for your support. All right. Woohoo. Away we go. The super chats are flying. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Thank you. Recipe change jersey boys dance. Okay, that's an internal conversation there. All right. Off and rolling. Yes, we are. All right. So let me get my playlist in order as you guys talk so nicely amongst yourselves for 1 second here. So here we go. Let's come out with this one. Okay. We're going to bring in one of my favorite creators out there today to help us with this first report. Okay. The more money we give, the you might be reading into something there. Yeah, there is some super levels going on here. There's some super levels to this. There is a super duper level. There's think about it in denominations. 5 and under, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, 100. What could they be? I don't know. You'll have to see. And the great part about it is these will rotate and surprise you from week to week, So I also have it's like, people that like this, send $5 here, $5 there, they can level up so they won't get the same one twice at first, right? And then I can at least go 5, 10 to 15, 20. See, I'll try to keep track of what you're doing. If it gets out of hand, then I'll have to just kind of keep them where they are. I don't know. I'm still trying to work it out, but seems to be off and rolling, and people will enjoy it. They will enjoy it. All right. So let's especially Wolfram, right? Oh yeah. I got a new thing on here. I didn't even see it. Image file. Nice. Okay. Good. I like it. Okay. There's a new thing in StreamYards here. I'll have to actually just in time too. But T-Rex came out with a great super chat tonight, so we won't have to put a drop of hot sauce on his phone as punishment for that's how T-Rex's parents used to punish him. They used to put a drop of hot sauce on his phone. That was so funny when I saw that day in Sully's chat. I was like, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. All right. So big news of the day. I think we got this already, but for the most part, I want to reiterate it because Vivek's awesome. And we know where he's going now, what he's doing, right? And he got a great endorsement already. So let's check in and make sure we got winning speed queued up. Yes, we do. And let's go.
What happened? Well, the reality is I'm pursuing elected office very shortly. We'll have an announcement soon. But Jesse, things are off to a great start. I think President Trump has proven, look at the actions that he took in that first week, the most pro-merit president I think we've had in a long time. That's my vision grounded in constitutional law in the future of the country. I think it's best pursued through elected office. And I'm confident that they're going to succeed in slashing and burning that federal bureaucracy.
People are saying you didn't get along with Musk. What happened there?
I think that's incorrect. But what I would say is we had different and complementary approaches. I focused more on a constitutional law, legislative-based approach. He focused more on a technology approach, which is the future approach. No better person to lead that technology, digital approach than Elon Musk. But when you're talking about a constitutional revival, it's not just done through the federal government. It's done through federalism, where states also lead the way. So I'll have to be saying more on that very shortly, Jesse.
All right, so Elon didn't fire you.
We had a mutual discussion, and I think that I wish him well, and we're on the same page where divide and conquer in saving the country. It's not a one-man show from the top down or the bottom up. It's all of the above, and that's what I'm in for.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy because he just made a big announcement that he is running for governor of Ohio. Okay, he has officially kicked off his campaign to become the next governor of Ohio, and this comes
He's MOGA. He's MOGA. Make Ohio great again. Congratulations, T-Rex.
after he dropped out of Doge, okay, as there was speculation about whether or not there was issues with Elon Musk and President Trump. Well, now we kind of have the answers to those questions, and I want to talk about it. But before we get into it, I want to go ahead and play some clips of Vivek's announcement, his speech, so that you guys can get a good understanding of exactly what he's pitching to Ohio, the citizens of Ohio, the people of Ohio, in order to become their next governor. Take a look.
President Trump is reviving our conviction in America. We require a leader here at home who will revive our conviction in Ohio. And that is why today I am honored to announce that I am running to be the next governor of a great state at the heart of the greatest nation known to mankind, the state where I was born and raised, the state where Apurva and I raise our two sons today, a state whose best days are still ahead. I am honored to announce my candidacy to serve as the next governor of the state of Ohio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How excited is Ohio right now? How excited is Ohio right now? You've got to be super excited. I'm excited for Ohio. To have somebody like this running to be your governor. Oh, man. And this is the great experience that Vivek needs. To actually hold political office, to hold an important office, and to be able to deliver and show results. This is only going to up his value and up his what do you want to say? It's going to up his credibility, right? It's going to give him a political resume to work with and kick butt and take names. Hey, what's up, Arby? How you doing? I see you out there. I see you. Did you miss the whole talk about super chats? Well, I'll just make sure to ask anybody in the crowd about. They'll fill you in. All right. So yeah, go Ohio, man. Ayo, way to go, Ohio. State of
I will lead
excellence.
Ohio to be the top state in the country to start and grow a new business. I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country to raise a young family. I'll lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where our kids get a world-class education in math, reading, writing, critical thinking, and physical education. I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where we give our kids the toolkit to think of themselves not as victims, but as victors in a competitive global economy.
Hey, you what, man? To have a governor like that and be reforming schools, get the federal board of education off everybody's back. Linda McMahon is going to go to the top rope on that and do the world's prettiest moonsault and take out that nastiness that's going on there. And then you have someone like Vivek coming into Ohio going, you know what? He's all about it. We've read Woke Inc. We know he knows what he's talking about. He's going to go in there and unwoke Ohio like you wouldn't believe. And he'll be able to do everything for Ohio except for giving him a real winning football team. But that's okay because we already have a great football team right next door in Pennsylvania. But anyways, otherwise, whoa, Ohio, man, sounding really good.
We will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where we embrace capitalism and meritocracy instead of apologizing for it. We will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country that takes a hatchet to red tape, overregulation, and bureaucracy. We will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where we lead the way in the sectors of the future, from semiconductors to aerospace. I will lead Ohio to be the top state in the country where patriots across America actually flock to instead of Florida and Texas. I will lead Ohio to be the state of excellence in America.
Nice. Dude, how exciting is that? I mean, dude, you got to love it. You got to love it.
We're in the middle.
He's got a hat on.
Of a second industrial revolution right now. And I believe deep in my bones that Ohio can lead the way again. If Silicon Valley was at the leading edge of the American economy for the last 10 years, it will be the Ohio River Valley for the next 10 years. And I will lead this state to make it so. I'll be frank, it may not be the same sectors as last time around. It may not be rubber production next time. But it will be the sectors of the future, from semiconductor production to nuclear energy, from biotech to Bitcoin to our defense industrial base. The state where we use AI not to take jobs, but to make jobs through more workforce training and education. I will lead Ohio to that new height and new vision. This is our modern day Northwest ordinance. That's what this moment represents.
Look at that.
I'll tell you,
There's
this
history.
is a state where we're a conservative state. Look at the people in this room. We share deeply conservative values that this country and the state were founded upon. We just need to finally be governed like one. That won't lose us elections. That will win us elections because it'll put more money in your pocket. It'll lift more people up from poverty. It'll revive civic pride and meaning and self-confidence in our young people. And more than anything, it will also make sure that patriots across this country, from New York to California, and yes, from Texas to Florida, move into Ohio to establish their roots here. And that includes so many of the kids who have left the state. We're going to repatriate them by their own choice back to Ohio, close to their parents and their grandparents, because this is the state where they realize their American dream without apologizing for it.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Okay, so Vivek has announced his run for governor of Ohio, and he's already scored a couple of massive endorsements. And I think these endorsements are very, very, very important, especially considering how there were rumors that there were issues between Vivek, Elon Musk, and President Trump. And I told you guys at the time which this news came out about what happened with Vivek and Doge. I said, this is not really making sense, right? It doesn't really make sense that Vivek was pushed out because President Trump or Elon Musk didn't like him, right? Or something like that, because Vivek was basically a part of Trump's cabinet during the inauguration. And this was after the rumors had basically been confirmed that, hey, Vivek was leaving. So again, I don't think...
Yeah, well, dude, look, no one's going to throw Vivek out, man. Vivek's a rock star. Think about it. Only a dumb mind control victim on the left could come up with some bullshit like that.
There's really any bad blood. In fact, again, we know that for certain because President Trump has already endorsed Vivek Ramaswamy. He says, Vivek Ramaswamy is running for governor of the great state of Ohio. I know him well, competed against him, and he is something special. He's young, strong, and smart. Vivek is also a very good person who truly loves our country. He will be a great governor of Ohio, will never let you down, and he has my complete and total endorsement. Yeah, so huge, huge endorsement from President Trump. Elon Musk says, good luck, you have my full endorsement. Okay, so now you have two major endorsements, Elon Musk and President Trump. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is that apparently Vivek was telling the truth, right? When it comes to his departure from Doge, it had more to do with the fact that he felt as if he needed to focus his resources and his time on running for governor of Ohio rather than doing the work of Doge. And for him and his political career, I think as of right now, that's probably the best decision for a couple reasons. One, I think Elon has his own people handling Doge, right? And I think that Elon is more than enough needed for Doge, okay, to be honest with you. And Vivek needs this governor's seat in order to solidify himself as a major force within the MAGA movement, right? Because Vivek is still a newcomer. There's a lot of people who don't trust Vivek. Okay, there's a lot of people that think that Vivek is fake or that, Vivek wants to import India into the United States of America. I feel like a lot of those concerns are extremely overblown. But hey, Vivek is going to get an opportunity to prove that he can actually win a race, first and foremost, in which right now it's looking pretty good for him, right? There's a 2026 Ohio governor GOP primary poll. Vivek is winning with 46% support. And then you have Dave Yost, the Attorney General of Ohio. He's in second, a distant second, 18%. And then everybody else, I mean, they're like 1%. So Vivek is doing well as of right now. I'm sure the endorsement from President Trump and from Elon Musk definitely doesn't hurt, okay, with the GOP. It probably makes Vivek's case stronger. But one, he got to prove that he can win. Right? If he can actually get elected, okay, if people actually trust him to be in office, and he gets the opportunity to be in office, then he can prove that he knows how to run a government, right? That he can fulfill his promises and
like I said, man, me and Greg share a brain.
He has campaigned on, right? That is what is important for Vivek at this point. That's why I think that this is an extremely important move for him because he's going to have to prove a lot, right? And I think he can prove some of the naysayers wrong by being a good governor for Ohio. Ohio being basically a MAGA state at this point, right? Ohio.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
Used to be a swing state back in the day, okay, maybe like 10 years ago, okay, before Trump, right? But now, I mean, it's like a straight MAGA state, right? And
that's right, guys. What do you think of this, man? Greg's just going to go on and say what I have already said because, like I said, Greg and I share a brain for some reason. My brother from another mother out there running an awesome channel called Black Conservative Perspective. Hold on 1 second, please. All right. And yeah, so what do you guys think of that? Look at Vivek is already out to a whopping almost 50% lead. He's got this, man. And you know what though? He won't rest on his laurels. He'll get out there and he'll campaign hard. He'll meet the people and he will put together a great platform for the state of Ohio. Ohio, you got to be excited. Finally, something's going your way. And it will no doubt end up being very phenomenal for you guys. We are happy to see this happen for you, and we will be watching the progress with great interest. Indeed, we will. Indeed. What you guys got out there? I think Vivek made his money through some financial games. I don't know. We read his book, so he pretty much nah, he's not bad at all, dude. He if you read his book and you get to know him, you listen to some interviews by him and whatnot, you'll probably a lot of people came in with some pre conceptions about him, and then we took a deep dive on him during the campaign as we you read his book. Good. He's got a new one out called Truths. I got it saved. Let's put it that way. I don't think we're gonna read it for a while though, since we already read one of his books. So get some other authors a chance. But I bet you a lot of people will head into Ohio. But I have a lot of faith in Vivek, and he full on admits in his books that he's come a long ways, and that's the way it is. People are brought up in this world. They're brought up in the first veil. They're brought up under the establishment narrative, and it takes something to break out of it, right? It takes a high intellect. It takes a moment of clarity. It takes many factors. But just know that if you broke free from it, you were meant to break free from it, and here you are. So that's the great thing, right? He's one of those that obviously was brought up in the system and brought up with a certain perception and a certain narrative about the world. And as time moved on, his morals and his base took over, and he's escaped them. So for what it's worth, I think that he is a good guy, and we're only going to build the best is yet to come from Vivek Ramaswamy, and I would have no problem in the future down the road voting for him as president of the United States. So that's for damn sure. I think he's the in a lot of ways the new mold of the anti-establishment candidate for the future, where we don't need such a bulldog, but we do need someone who's tough, stern, and understands and is pretty much unwavering in terms of and a hard person to beat in a debate, but unwavering on his stances in terms of principles and so on. So I know, good for you, Ohio. Good for you. Good for you, Vivek, and I think we'll all be doing better for this move. A good move by him. Elon's got it handled on his end, and I think it was cool to have Vivek there for the launch of Doge. But now that they're off and rolling, you don't really need two chiefs there in the house, right? So this is a good move, and now he's securing Ohio and giving him some resume, some times to build his resume, his political resume, and so on. Is all pharma bad? That's what I gotta ask. It's like, didn't he was it scamish or just didn't work the way he thought it did? CEOs, he's not a doctor, but CEOs depend on subject matter experts when you're at the CEO level. And if somebody gives you the wrong information, or it's not who they say they are, and they're good at selling themselves, you could end up with some bad stuff. I'm not gonna overjudge them by that, but I mean, it is what it is. Who's the best to answer that question? Him. How do you answer for your past dealings in the pharmaceutical industry? I know that one of his businesses, I think it was that one, he launched to be the opposite of a woke owned kind of place, and that was his goal. And though I don't think that the product itself worked itself out, I don't know a lot about this. I think that he still did what he thought was right at the time. So I really don't fault him. But you know what? If I had billions of dollars, I'd be pretty set. I'd still be doing what I'm doing today. Not totally sold on him yet. 95% of Yahoos. The thing about it is like, outside of some past business decisions, which if anybody here wants to be judged by everything they've ever done in their life, like on an ungrowing, unevolving basis, step up, step up to be judged. And I'm sure that everybody here will fail, because we've all had to have some growing pains in our lives, but it's, what are you doing right now? How far have you come? How have you evolved? How have you become a better person over time? That shows who you really are. Not the mistakes you've made in the past. We all have a bunch of mistakes we've made in the past, and it's, what are you doing right now? and he kicked ass on the campaign trail for Trump. He helped get him elected. He was unstoppable in the debate field, taking on mainstream media and other idiots that try to come at him. Completely destroyed John Bolton on foreign policies. I mean, he's done a lot of good stuff. So I like him. I feel good about him, and I think like I said, the best is yet to come. We get to see a real litmus test in the Ohio. He takes the governorship. Watch what happens there. You know, and then 4 or 5 years from now, 8 years, who knows how long until he gets his shot at running the country. But you know, the one thing is that, and I said this before, is he's got his own money. You know, he doesn't have to. He's not going to be bought out by people. You know, in the past, we always worried about who was bought out. You know, and that on our side, we don't worry about that. On their side, we just consider them all bought out. So it's pretty much cut and dry now. But in the past, we had people like McCain and Romney and the neocons that were in there, and they were all bought out. They're all bought and sold. So, you know, these days, when you have a billionaire, and I know you know most of us aren't billionaires, right, or even millionaires. But when you have somebody that can't be bought, that's a big value these days, because it's so easy to find people who have been bought and sold, right? And you got the McConnells, you got the all these other these swamp creatures that are out there. You got people that are getting bought off all the time. And you know, one thing that really hurt Ron Paul was the fact that he couldn't support his own campaign, yet he wouldn't get bought out. So you see the ramifications of someone who doesn't have hasn't acquired wealth on a high level that tries to run for president. They get rolled over by the machine. So it's all, I'm very much about strategy. So when it comes to strategy, I'm looking at all the pieces, like what's going to make sure that we never roll back to the neocons, we never roll back to the false left right paradigm, and then losing a choice. I don't want to, you know, three generations of work to go down the tube because we got sloppy, or we didn't pay attention to what was going on, or the details, and be like, oh well, I'm back to popularity contests now, and I'm back to expecting a perfectly clean record from a politician or anybody for that matter. Turns out that's not the case. Don't meet your heroes, so won't let you down. That kind of thing. But yeah, I get it. He's got a pass. We all do. It doesn't mean he's not capable of being a good government just because he's got some stuff going on in the past. You know, whatever. But you know who will use that to try to run slander campaigns and try to divide people on good leadership? The Marxists, the lefts, this corrupt establishment. They look for anything like that, and that's all they got. So, you know, we have to have the more based approach to things. I think that's just my way. That's just my take. Some of it was trial and error, but I'm sure of. I mean, you know, like I ask people when they're on the fence about things, what is it going to take you to convince you, right? What, and that's not for me to sell you on. It's just for me to be, just me being curious. What is it going to take? Like I've asked people that about Big Four. What do you want him to do? Like pull a rabbit out of his hat, or I mean, what does he got to do to earn your trust? Or is it even possible, right? So we should all be about 95% on people at least. I mean, always leave a little room to, never be. I never go all the way in, anyways. Not even with Trump. So, yeah. Well, like I said, the billions he has helps keep him out of the pockets of other people that want to influence him. That's the way I see the billions. And I'm happy for anybody's success, man. It's tough to be successful in this world. And for people who can be successful and build generational wealth for their families, and they're based, have a base mindset, that's a good thing. He has 2 sons. I could literally follow in his footsteps one day, and on and on and on. He may have more. He's still young. So the more base people that are having kids that are able to keep them in the, give them the best education, keep them safe from the mind virus of Marxism, and keep them on a good path, man, the more the berry. I want everybody here to be doing that well. I want everybody here to be doing that well, and to be producing families that are going to do that well generationally. Right now, we got a bunch of assholes out there that are running the generation game, and they're corrupt, and they're broken, and they're demoralized, and they're demoralizing others, and they run a very bad game. And it's right now it's them doing that. So give me my pick. I'll take the base crowd for the billionaires and their kids and their good future. Rather see that then see a bunch of people that are like that struggling and not getting anywhere. Meanwhile, Soros and Gates and all these other really bad people are just thriving off our hard-earned labor, our hard work, and our prosperity. They suck it up like a vampire, and they live off of it. So, anyways, that's what I got to tell you about that. Remember to listen to the Wolf when you're here, man. Remember to listen to the Wolf. Remember, we got a whole tail of super chats going on. Let's see. Let's see. Agreed. If Barrel did one. Okay, that's internal. I'm not an Ohio voter. Yeah. So bring to success. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. All right. We'll keep an eye on that. Well, yeah, I bet. In the healthcare, you always got to be dealing. There's plenty of scams in healthcare in there. Plenty of scams. Well, yeah. I mean, actually, people should be trying to take care of themselves first, and then they can take care of others. It's like it's hard to get out there when you don't have your shit straight. Try to tell people how to get their shit straight or whatever. It's like that's kind of a model for life, you got to get yourself going on first, and then you can do more. If you have problems on that end, it's going to be hard to do anything else. It's going to be lasting and not have some issues and some falling apart problems. All right, let's move on to the next segment here. This is quick. I just want to kind of check this out. Any chance to get JD in here for a minute? Swears in the Army Secretary. This is a quick little blip. We got a swearing in thing here going on. And it'll give me a chance to get a little drink here. JD, get in here, man.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here. I'm Senator Ted Budd from North Carolina, and it's absolutely my honor and privilege to be here to welcome and offer congratulations to my friend and fellow North Carolinian on being sworn in today as Secretary of the Army. I want to give a special thank you to Dan Driscoll's family, his wife, Dr. Cassie Driscoll, and their two children, Daniel Jr. and Lila, for sharing their dad, their husband, with the rest of the country. Also, I don't know if they're either back behind us or in this room here, but the grandparents, who I know have been quite busy for the last 6 months.
That's awesome.
So we want to thank them as well. I know that Dan has the distinct honor of also being a classmate of our vice president, and they both have served our country in uniform, and for that we are forever grateful. Dan, we're grateful for your service to our country, and we know that you're going to make us proud in your new role as Secretary of the Army. So please welcome
Secretary of the Army.
Vice President.
What's I got to do?
New Secretary.
What's the Secretary of the Army up to? Hey, it's JD Vance, y'all. Look at that.
Great. Everybody, please be seated. So we're going to do a little swearing in here to make this official. And I thought, so sometimes when you do the swearings in, you actually do them formally beforehand, and then you actually do the one on camera, just in case you screw something up in front of the cameras, it still counts. We have not done that with Dan. So number one, that puts him under a lot of pressure. He actually has to say the words correctly. And number two, that gives me an opportunity, Dan. This is the last minute here. Anything, anything you can promise me to ensure that we swear you in properly, because the Senate's done its job, and now it's time for me to do mine. But let me just say a couple of words here. First of all, of course, I want to thank the president for nominating a very, very great Army veteran, a family servant, a guy whose grandfather, father, and now himself has served in the United States Army to be our Secretary of the Army. If you look at our recruiting numbers just in the last month, you see a massive increase in the number of people who decided to volunteer, enlist, and sign up for the United States Army, because I think that under the Trump administration, under Secretary Hegseth and now under Secretary Driscoll, we have people proud to join the United States military again. Thank God for that, because we need
recruitment
good people
will
in our
go
armed
up.
forces.
Recruitment
we need
will
great
go
people
up.
in the United States Army. We have a lot of great people, but of course the future really matters. And I'm proud that under President Trump's leadership, we have turned what was a recruiting shortfall into, I think, a recruiting boon, because people are proud to serve the United States military as they should be.
Yeah, because
I
people
wanna
wouldn't
say
be in
something
a
about
foxhole
Dan
with a
and his
bonus hole.
wonderful family. So Dan has been a dear friend of mine for a long time. His beautiful wife, Cassie, who's also an incredible physician, and two beautiful kids who are I think the most well-behaved kids I've ever seen of a secretary nominee. You guys do a really good job. You actually listen to your parents, which is amazing. And I think it speaks well. If Dan can get, Daniel, you're 8. Okay. Lila, how old are you? You're 6. If you can get an 8 and a 6-year-old to listen to you, then I think you can sure as hell be the Secretary of the Army, because
I could have done that
these
then.
guys are a lot tougher than a lot of the soldiers that Dan will now lead. But we're proud of him. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of character. He's a man of great leadership. And I think that he will bring the Army to a place where we can be proud of it, where we can have
what is he going to do?
service rewarded.
Just give us some of those things he's going to do
in the United States Army, and where we make sure that we're promoting the best and brightest, we're enlisting the best and brightest, and when, God forbid, we have to send the best and brightest to America's wars, we do it with competence, with effectiveness, we do the job, and then we bring everybody home safely. That is what we need to do in the United States Army. I want to thank Senator Budd, we have a lot of senators here, Senator Brett, Senator McCormick, and of course, Senator Ernst, for their great leadership in helping shepherd Dan's confirmation through. We've had some tough confirmations. We've had some easier confirmations, and Dan has been on the easier side. And I think that
we didn't hear anything about that, did we?
His character and leadership, but also to the United States Senate and what they're able to do. So with that, I will turn our secretary designate into a secretary by administering the oath of office. So Dan, if you would please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Daniel Driscoll, do solemnly swear.
I, Daniel Driscoll, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That
Does JD have to have his hand up too?
Allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
Without any mental reservation.
Or purpose of evasion.
Or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully.
That I will well and faithfully.
Discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
Discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
Good teams. Oh, we're the fam. Great kids.
Thank you.
A couple words from the new secretary, and then we'll get on to our next story.
So this is going to be very fast. It is a privilege to stand before you today as the 26th Secretary of the United States Army. I first want to thank the President of the United States for his confidence and his trust. Next, I am forever grateful to the Vice President and Second Lady. This friendship has been the adventure of a lifetime. I cannot imagine where it goes from here. To Cassie, Daniel, Lila, both sets of our parents, my brother, thank you for everything. Couldn't have done it without you. To everyone I met on the campaign trail, it is incredible how quickly we went from strangers to friends. Arthur, thank you for pushing so hard to get this through. And then just the last thing, my commitment to this role, as the Vice President mentioned, is rooted in my family's long lineage of military history. We are a family that is grateful to have had the privilege of wearing the United States Army uniform, and we're going to fight hard for it. As Secretary, I will honor the Army's 250th year legacy of service and sacrifice, and I will stay focused on my mission and shoulder my share of the task, as I know our soldiers will do. Thank you for being here today. I'm grateful for all of you.
Great.
All right. Awesome. Good guy. Seems like a real good guy, right? Coming up later in the show, a very exciting White House executive order signing today. Something very important got signed today, guys, in case you didn't know. it's good news for a lot of people, including people in my family. So I'm excited for that. I've not seen the White House presser. That's coming up as well. I think we got time for both. So we're gonna get through the news updates here. Guys out there, let's see what Wolfram has to say. He said that he is a senior civilian officer for the Army and the DoD, basically administrative duties, but recruiting is one of them. So yeah, maybe we'll get some of this be all you can be stuff coming on back. Manpower, personnel installations, environmental issues, acquisitions of weapons and equipment, communications and financial management. These are all things that he will be doing. So Driscoll, good luck. We're all counting on you. All right. Let's see. I'm kind of going backwards here. What do you guys think about Don Bongino becoming what is he, the vice deputy secretary or something?
Here's a story from The Guardian. I love it.
Let's see. As FBI deputy director, there you go. I hope this works out. I hope this works out. How long is this? Okay. I get the. I don't mind. I don't mind Tim on his own when he has the rest of the people on there. So this probably will get through the story, and then when other people start talking, I'll probably be out of this story quick. So it's it's like the thing about it is this, man. I've been doing this shit a long time, and these guys sitting below Tim haven't, like, for the most part. I tend to look at where you're at and on the journey, and these guys seem to be finding new shit out every day, or still stuck in their own ways of thinking, old ways of thinking. I don't know where he's found these guys, where they come from, but I've yet to be really impressed with the cast of IRL, and that's not a knock on them. Everybody's got their different journeys to take it at different times, but I'm more wary about people being misled by people who don't really know everything they're talking about, right? And so when you have a huge platform, I expect top notch or just go solo. Tim can handle it on his own. He's got it for the most part. He still has a few things that he could upgrade his knowledge about, and a few more references more closer to the root that he could be using. But I mean, as far as where he's at, kind of an entry point at this point for people, he's right. I would recommend somebody who's trying to escape the establishment narrative. Here, listen to Tim Pool. He's kind of middle of the road. He'll say some things that you relate to, and he won't. It's not the full on swing into here's the true nature of the terror of this world, right? It's more like, yes, and I am upset about this, and this is why this makes more sense than the way you're thinking. So, anyways, Snipe says Dan would be good. Would he? I hope so. I hope that he will be. I hope that, one, he's a good soldier. That's what I really want out of Bongino, at least for the foreseeable future. I need a good soldier, someone who can deliver, right? I don't necessarily need you trying to steer the ship. I don't necessarily need you. I need you to sit back and relearn. This is a Secret Service guy turned podcaster, right? So I don't know much more about him than that. If there's more to that, then hold on. If there's more to him than that, I don't know about it. So I hope that there is, and I hope that he'd be just fine. I think that I love the way it's far right podcaster. Far right of what? What are you talking about? Far right of Marxism? Sure, that's a bonus, right? That's like the most awesome thing ever. But do you guys know much more about him than I do? If you do, throw it out there. Tell me something interesting about Dan Bongino. But like I said, be a good soldier, deliver, execute, deliver, and I'm sure you'll be fine. Learn the ropes. Have an open mind. Revet your belief systems and certain things. I'm still kind of a little bit like, he's a Secret Service guy, but he came out and totally blew at least the upfront analysis of July 13th. He jumped the shark really fast, and I didn't like that. However, I do like his analysis of what he would refer to as the blob, right? I did do a show on that, highlighting that. So there's some pros and cons with him. I'll be watching with great interest, and I'll have full confidence in leadership to know whether or not it's a good fit. It's a interesting name. And if he could take the job, if he takes the job, I expect him to take the job seriously, and that for that to be his job. I don't think he has to decide whether he wants to give up his Rumble deal, which he's a owner of Rumble. If I heard it correctly, he's got I think Gary was tuning me. Gary Franchi, cool Gary, was filling me in on that detail, and he's got probably a very well paying podcast. So I don't think that he needs to be doing two jobs at once. Something as important as the deputy director of the FBI. You should be busy, so busy that it's two full-time jobs. I expect greatness out of this position. So there's my standards for it. There's my background knowledge for it, and my expectations moving forward, and what I think will suit him best right now. Now, my mind is open, and I will be keeping a close eye on it. However, hey, Blue Lantern, how you doing? Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you being here, man. How's it going? And I'm checking my Discord. What is this? Did that stop it? Oh, we'll just add that in. We'll add that in. Okay. We'll just add this in. Some more stuff to add. Hold on a second. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at this real quick. Let's go.
Unqualified henchman. Fears rise as Trump names far-right podcaster as FBI deputy director. Now, what I really love about this is that Kash Patel named Dan Bongino formally, as he is the FBI director, and we're big fans. But we all know it was actually Trump. Like no one's pretending it's not. Dan Bongino had said in the past he would only join. He would only work for the government.
I get what you're
Trump
saying,
personally
Roscoe.
asked. Some things are more.
I agree.
Important. So this is big. Let's just throw away all of the fake writing from the corporate press. We can talk about their smears in a second. But let me just say this. Dan Bongino is on the forefront of calling out the corruption in government, in the bureaucracy, in the deep state.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why he has one of the biggest podcasts in the world. He has the biggest live podcast in the world, unquestionably, routinely getting upwards of 170,000 concurrent viewers. This morning at 250,000. Now here's what's crazy. I am first. Let me just say, I've been on a show before. He's been on our show. He's a very straightforward guy. He was a cop for a couple of years. Then he was a secret special agent in the Secret Service. So he's got law enforcement experience, but he's got deep political understanding. So I think this is an excellent choice. It is what dreams are made of for all of us. We were all surprised. Hard to believe it's true. So I'm very excited for what Dan is going to do, because Dan has called out so much of this corruption. The fact that he's there, I'm feeling really, really great. But I wanted to say this. Dan Bongino, with the show as big as his, I hope y'all understand. I don't have the hard numbers on how much money he makes. But based on his viewership, I'm spitballing $10 to $30 million, somewhere in that range per year.
Good God, man. Good God, man. You know, if you go in and you got a background in something, right? That people like. I mean, that's why I think lawyers do so good on YouTube, is because like, oh, they got the credibility of a law degree, right? So even if they're just farting into a cup, they're pretty much people are going to show up and listen. And then believe me, there's a lawyer out there that just farts into a cup, basically, and people just show up and listen to it. I really don't get it, but but if they have it, the people will be like, oh, it's lawyer, you know? Okay, so cool. You might learn some law or something like that. So, but he comes in with the Secret Service, right? And I remember when he first started coming on air and started doing things, and he he took right off, you know. So if you have credibility on some level, right? You can soar, but man, $10 to $30 million a year just to get on in front of a camera and just say what you think about shit and go on rants and stuff. I mean, I'm doing it for minimum wage. You know, I'm like trying to entice people with the girls dancing around. But just that's it, man. I wish I'd done something like that instead of played, been a musician or tech or something like that. It's like, this day, but who would have known that this kind of thing would have happened as a Gen Xer? Like this would have been here later on in life. Like we had no idea. You could set yourself up now to do that later. As I try to tell my son, I'm like, think about it like this, like, whatever skills you're going to build when you're young, you can literally translate that into a career later in life, just by being, having some kind of like credentials, like, experience, credentials, whatever. Of course, then there's people like, Greer, who's just a complete grifter, and people buy that shit too. So I don't know. I guess there's a way for everybody to do it. But having credentials and having done something really blows up. But $10 to $30 million a year, and he owns part of Rumble. He's got stock or something in the Rumble. He's making money on that too. That means his content's getting pushed out even further. Oh yeah, don't make sure you don't throttle the boss's content, right? Hey, Libby, what's up? Libby, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. See, I know I lower that piece into a cup. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's that too. And pours it right into everybody's ears. All right, there we go. Here we go.
Here's a man who built up this big audience. He can read ads all day and talk about how he feels with the news. He can be as wealthy as a king could ever dream of. He could want for nothing. I mean, you're talking $30 million a year. This is owning your own private jet level. This is flying around in a Gulfstream, getting Italian ice cream delivered for breakfast. And he said, you know what? I'm going to be a civil servant instead for like a minimal salary. And that to me, I tweeted, people need to understand the sacrifice he's making to do this.
Okay, I'm going to push back a little bit. All right. One, he's a serviceman, right? He served as a Secret Service, right? He understands what's going on with this country. He's concerned about it, and he wants his wealth and prosperity to last, right? I get that, and I think he wants what's best for the country too. So win-win situation, right? It's a win-win situation for Dan. Two, to take the role, I don't know how long he's going to do it for or whatever, but if you're already making $10 to $30 million a year, you're pretty much set. I mean, unless you just have a really bad spending problem, you're doing really well, and you're probably going to be doing well for many, many, many years. So the president, the president you backed and you're behind and you believe in, asked you to step up and do something. At this day and age, this time in history, it seems like a no-brainer for him. To put himself out and like to say, well, he's putting himself out because he's giving up a $10 to $30 million podcast a year. He's already got the money. Three, he can come back to it when he's done and make even more. Right. So he's upping his stock is what he's doing. He's upping his stock. And so I'm not, I get it's very dramatic, Tim, but I don't necessarily agree with you on this, though. I'm sure we agree on a lot of other things about it. I don't think he's given up that much. I think what he's doing is he's got plenty of money. He can put some people in place with a name to carry the podcast. He can pop in here and there, but he's got to do his job. And then when he comes back after he's done, how many years is it going to be? I don't know. Whatever years he puts into it and wants to do it. What if it's just like until everything gets nice and steady? He's like, well, you know what? You guys got this. I'm going to go back, chill, and write a book about it and go sell it on my podcast. And I'm going to turn that $30 million into $60 million. And I'm going to be back just chilling on an island in my flying car and all that shit. So no, I don't agree with you that, it's like, oh my God, he's giving it up to go take this meager salary. Like he doesn't have other things going on, right? He doesn't have everything. He's got plenty going on. He's going to be just fine. And like Dan's going to go broke doing a little job for Trump, right? And Kash Patel. He ain't going to go broke. Do you guys think he's going to go broke? I don't. All right.
Because I don't know that I could. Like, I worked so hard to build this company. If Trump said, we want you to do a civil servant job, we're going to pay you a, 6-figure salary, I'd be like, I don't know, man. Like I walk away from everything I built and all my plans and all my dreams. I mean, I don't
really,
think
Tim.
Dan Bongino
Tim's got a spinning problem. He's got a spinning problem. He's got some kind of problem. Like, why would really? I mean, I get the dilemma, but I mean, I guess what you're making and what Dan's making is significantly different. I mean, he's put a lot of his money back into what's going on. So I guess that's what it is. But I mean, if you've got a bank going on and you're well, if you can too, Dan's been part of the White House staff, right? He's been Secret Service, so he has a duty bound persona, right? So he believes in duty and to his country, service to his country, and Tim believes in skateboarding. So I can see the difference now.
His 5-year plan being like, and then I'll stop building one of the biggest shows in the world in my network and go be a civil servant. But I think for Dan, it's very obvious what his priorities are, and his priorities, it lends itself to his show. When he goes on his show and he says, I am sick of the corruption, people clap for him. They say, yes. And then Trump says, want to deal with it? He goes, yes, I do. And so he doesn't care about the money. He cares about everything he's ever talked about that made the show so big.
There
so
we
shout
go.
out to Dan Bongino, man, absolutely incredible stuff. But so I'll throw it to you guys so I don't keep ranting on this one. I'm just deeply inspired by Dan willing to step away from all this to do the right thing. But dream come true?
Absolutely. No, I got
all right. Yeah. Okay. Well, who is this guy? Hold on. Who is this guy? He looks like the guy. Is that Emergency Awesome? Hey, YouTubers. It's me, Charlie. Hey, Jacob Castro. What's up? I'm not gonna listen to these guys. I don't know who they are. They never impressed me with their knowledge. They seem like they're very much beginners. And I know that's kind of Tim's style. He brings in beginners because, and it's okay because he can teach them some stuff along the way. Hopefully they listen and learn, right? But he can teach them some stuff. And but yeah, I mean, to be on a huge podcast like that and having people that aren't that sophisticated in politics, and I don't even know what's going on. A few years ago, I was voting for the establishment. I don't know what is Marxism a problem? I had never heard of it. Some of these things. That's why you don't see Ian on there anymore. He's not on there that much. If you let him come on every now and then, they're like, okay, get the pothead off the string. Get him off. Like he always brought down that show. I won't bitch about it too much though, but I do think Tim is all right. Okay, so that's not a knock on Tim. It's just all right. Oh yeah, shake it up, shake it up. Let's see what this says right here. Let's go over to here and shake it up for a minute. What is this? What's going on here? So every single House Democrat just voted. You guys are such hypocrites. Come on, bring it on up. Let's go. Hey, Shani, how you doing? Welcome to the show. All right. There we go. Thomas Soul quotes, what's up? Shout out. Every single Democrat just voted against no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. They care so much about the working people, don't they? They care so much about them. Is that it? That's just a 1 second. Okay. They care so much about the working people. Let's take a look at it and see what the comments say. No tax on tips will lead employers to game the system to avoid paying taxes themselves. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look, man, I waited tables and bartended plenty in my life. In fact, I started out busting tables, and I never had to pay tax on tips when I was growing up. It was stupid. They did that came about later on. There was plenty of, in fact, people have been paying tax on tips less time than most taxes. I mean, honestly, I think that what was I mean, it may have been a long time now, but leading up to when I was in the service industry, most of my early years in the service industry, we weren't required to pay tax on tips. It was stupid. That came about later on when Democrats started expanding government and they started finding out new ways. We're going to start taxing you on tips. You can't get away with that. Can't get away with that, you slave. So yeah, anybody who thinks that's going to hurt, it's going to lead to employers gaming. How are they going to game the system? What are you talking about, dude? You don't know what you're talking about. You obviously have never done it. No tax on Social Security. That's damn right. Damn right. We shouldn't have that. Why are you going to tax somebody on that shit, man? Especially at the end of their life when they can't afford the taxes. It's just a poverty recipe. It's a recipe for poverty. It's a recipe to hurt people, right? When people should be having it very easy, right? They've survived most of their life to make it into their old age, right? They survived. They paid into a system, and now you want to screw them over? on something they've been counting on their whole life, when they can't get out there and in a lot of cases make the money they used to make, now you're going to screw them over. Yeah, that's really good. You're really looking out for the little people, looking out for the everyday person. Democrats, you guys are, you're fucking hypocrite scammers, freaking brainwashing jackasses, establishment knee bending. I don't know. Come up with something for me. Come up with something for me before I start going off. Let's see. It's still passed though, right? Republicans 217. Who was the Republican that said no? Throw them out. Throw them out. And Democrats, so it was 217 and 213. It passed. But look at that. Look at those pathetic Democrats. This is right here. This is what you want to bring up when it's free election time. And 2 years from now, I remember this is the guy. This is the person that said no to they wanted you to pay taxes on your tips. All you service industry people who think the Democrats have your back. Right here just proves it. Right here, there it is, right in front of your face. Democrats do not have your back. They hate you. They hate you. They want to enslave you. They want you working in a remedial job the rest of your life with no possibilities of comfort or success. You know, there's people that bartend and wait tables that make a really good living. They really do. And now they're going to make a better living. And I hope they appreciate where it came from when they're out there drinking with their woke friends or whatever, right? After work. I hope you appreciate where it came from, all that extra money you're going to get now. How about that? You know, now they can minimum wage you to death. Go ahead. $2 an hour to wait tables, and I'm waiting in a 5-star restaurant, and I'm walking out with $500 to $1,000 a night in tips. Dude, you're loving it. You're absolutely bartenders. Woo! Bartenders has got a big raise, but bartenders with $2 to $5 an hour. You know, you're cranking out. You're cranking it, dude. You're a good bartender. You know, you got a good base of customers that come in and see you all the time. You just upped your game. You just up your game. Now you're going to be buying houses and shit, right? They're not trying to take your money out every night. You're killing it, man. You're awesome. So hell yeah, welcome. You know what? More people are going to want to do that job now because it's going to be more profitable. I'll go make a no tax on tips job. You know, all of a sudden you're cranking it, dude. You can crank it. Yeah, right. AOC should go back to the bartending. She could make more money. Absolutely. When I was a waitress in the 90s, I was taxed on tips made $2.75 to $4 an hour, depending on where, right? Let me see. In 90s would be about right. I started though in the 80s. So I don't know. Maybe it was 90s though. It was like mid 90s. It was past like 96, 95, 96. I remember, I'm trying to remember the place where I was at where they said, well, you have to start claiming your tips. And you know what we did? We claimed the very bare minimum. We undersold it every time because they couldn't tell. So you just go, people are already gaming the tax on tips system because it's unfair. When you're only getting $2.75 an hour and you're working 8-hour shifts, 10-hour shifts sometimes, man, that's hardcore work. And, you know, on your feet, shuffling, listening to a bunch of assholes, either you're working with or at the table, right? Dealing with people. And if you go, man, God forbid you're in a chain restaurant, man, you know, now you're really dealing with people. You got people that come in there just to screw the play. Well, I'll call the goddamn corporate. I'll call corporate. Call corporate. Man, I watched this woman bringing this woman, Stacey Abrams type woman, come in with 5 kids. Right, sits at this table, orders a bunch of ribs, and then she orders her ribs, and then she says she didn't like the way they were cooked. Meanwhile, these kids are like chewing the bones in half, like they gutted the entire rib, and then they gave her money back. I'm like, really? That's all you got to do to scam a fucking corporate restaurant, and just go in there and complain about it and say you're going to call corporate if they don't do something about it, and they'll give it all to you for free. I mean, just write it off. Okay, no. So the whole thing sucks. But yeah, it's like that's the story of how Mama got free ribs at the Chili's. All right, so yeah, and it's pathetic, you know. But these people that are out there working, college students, and there's career waitresses and waiters and bartenders, definitely career bartenders, a lot of them. And if you're in a good restaurant, There's this guy that works at the steakhouse nearby, been doing the same damn job forever. He's got his whole little routine down. He knows how to sell the big steaks, and he makes a lot of money, right? So he's comfortable with that job. He's good at it. He doesn't have any bigger aspirations. His income just went up, and now he's getting paid what he's worth, right? Because he's been giving good service out for decades at the same place, right? You can't get any more an hour, right? I mean, you can't do that when you can just get someone to take a spot. But he does great. He can handle a whole section by himself. You know, that's you get value out of that as a restaurant owner. That helps a restaurant make more money. So there you go. And you know, Democrats, go suck it. You guys suck. You're awful. You're hypocrites, and all you want to do is hurt people. Okay, Kash Patel is the FBI already. We gotta check in and see what Kash Patel is up to. Where are we out in time? Okay. We got bright lights coming in. But before, let's see here. Let's click over there. Jay, Trump just wants tax cuts for millionaires and millionaires. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Because you know, every waitress and bartender and Uber driver and all these guys, these are what the millionaires and billionaires work, right? Exactly. Oh man, they're so bad. Let's see. Yeah, it was the Clinton regime. It was after after the college years for me. But that's what I did early after college. I mean, of course I didn't have a damn clue what to do after college because I'm Gen X and I didn't become a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. So I was like, all right, so now what do I do? Luckily, the information age popped up, and my logical brain gave me a way to go. Otherwise, I'd find I'd been in some trouble. It was before the internet, and well, it was barely. It was the internet was there. It was just dial up, but it was before you could make a career doing media on the internet. Way before. It would have been awful. Would have been absolutely awful. So yeah, it's been a lot of years waiting tables to make, rent was affordable. I could live off of it. Live with a bunch of friends or, have a cheap room to rent or something like that. And just go to the restaurant, go to the bar or whatever, make some money, work your butt off, have plenty of cash, go out, have some fun. Yep. That's the way it was. You weren't going to get ahead. It was depressing, but at the same time you could survive and enjoy your youth. That's what I did for the most part. All right. I've learned a lot over the years. That's what I'm saying. Redemption arcs are important. They really are. Never give up, never stop trying, always improve yourself. And get yourself out. I mean, I have to shake myself out of the whole you're too old to do something mindset a lot of times too. So don't let that negative thought creep into your mind. Keep on striving. Every day is a new chance to get it right. And that's what I'm saying, man. America Online. Yeah, America Online now. I never used that very much. I think I had an account there, but I didn't really use that much. It wasn't my go-to. I remember somebody used to ask me, do you need America Online to get on the internet? I was like, no. Yeah, no. Those CDs were everywhere, weren't they? Let's see how many Republicans vote against this in the Senate. We already know Democrats will be the majority who vote against it in the Senate. With that being said, leaders will be primaried. Yeah, exactly. I dare them. I dare people to do this, man. Go that and school choice. You better back off. You better back off at all. You better get in line. Is what you ought to do. I mean, what I'm saying? We're just getting started. We can't go backwards like we did in 2020. Can't let them ever do it to us again. We have to be vigilant on all fronts. And that means winning in 26. Right? 26. Midterms, whatever you want to call it. Let's go. You've got mail. Snarkasm. Yes, it's snarkasm. And by the way, for everybody else just coming in there, remember we got all kinds of new tiers of super chat videos you can unlock. And there's a goal out there if you want to help meet it. You rock and roll the world. And I appreciate everybody who supports the channel and helps me survive. Thank you. All right. Let's get back to the thing. Oh yeah, as you might have heard, you know how this works. We're going to get about halfway through this and move on. But hey, Kash Patel, as promised, as we read about in his book and all that stuff, overtime is part of that tips bill too. Yes, it is. Indeed. Should be. And you know what? let me just click back because I'm going to talk again. What about holiday pay? Holiday pay too. And guess what? This is what I was yelling about. Bonuses. Bonuses, man. Bonuses. Where's that? That needs to be part 2. That should have, I mean, maybe they figure if we put too much in it, they'll be like, no, where we're going to get all our money from. Look, we're taking away your goddamn slush funds and your money laundering at facilities. So just give up. Give up, make yourself look decent, and maybe you'll have a chance to try to win a little hypocrite scam again down the road. But what about bonuses, man? You get the, oh, we're going to hire you. We give out bonuses at this company. Oh, really? It's so great. Yeah, you get bonuses here, man. 10%. 10%. That's awesome. Right? And then the bonus check comes in 50% of the taxes are out of it. 50%. You cut that shit in half. Really? For who? For what? Why would you take 50% of someone's bonus? I mean, that just pissed me off so bad. I get those damn bonus checks. Oh man, I can't wait till that bonus at the end of the year. You work all hard, you get it, and you earn it. Here comes that bonus, and it's like, whip, right? And then you got to claim it at the end of the year. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Screw you and your bonus stealing taxes. You steal the bonuses, you steal the overtime work, you steal the tips, you're stealing everything. You steal Social Security. You know what? You know when they tax people the most on Social Security is when they are still having to work a job. So if you're drawing Social Security and you're still working a job, oh fuck no! Don't try to do something, ambitious. Don't try to get ahead. Don't try to do anything like that. We'll tax your ass. We'll make you go retire. You go sit there in that corner, right? They tax the mother effing F out of you if you're working and you're drawing Social Security. They tax the mother effing F out of you. And that is bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. Picking on the people who need some of the people who need the most help in this country, in this world. And they're picking on them, and they're picking on them for the work they did a long time ago. And they're stealing their money, man. So anybody who is against old people, who hate old people, definitely voted against this bill. People who hate poor people, they voted against this bill. They ought to add more shit to it. They ought to add in bonuses, vacation time, anything holiday pay, anything they try to screw you over on, put it in the bill. Anybody who votes against it hates people. That's all you got to say, right? That works, doesn't it? Bonuses and overtime tax is an effing joke. Roscoe knows. He gets it. He gets it. And it's like everybody in this crowd, they get you, man. Come on in, say hello. We get you. If you're based, man, you're based and you're active. If you're awake, aware, and resisting the corrupt establishment, if you don't like what the hell they've done in this country, in this world, you're in the right spot. Come on in, subscribe, come in, meet these people, meet people like Roscoe, Snipe Hunter, Wolfram, Heidi, Shinagram, Shelly, Blue Lantern, and all these other awesome people that are out in the chat tonight. Thank you guys so much for being here. All right, Obamacare was and has been a joke all along as well. Of course. And Trump saved Obamacare. He tried to, well, look, we're trying to fix it for you. It's really fucked up. Trying to fix it for you. Taxing lemonade stands. So that's, Biden says, well, just let me slip your hair. I'll give you a pass-a-roo. Right. Yeah, these people, man. Anything ever 10% tax should be illegal. Jacob, you got it, man. You got it. Maybe you should run for office, dude. You got it. My mom was taxed ridiculously working part-time and drawing SSI until she retired. Yeah, it's criminal. Absolutely criminal what they do to the elderly and to our senior citizens. The people that are like literally bona fide survivors, they have made it through life. They're still alive. All right. It's no joke. You think about all the times you almost died in your life. I don't care how old you are. If you're Gen X, it's probably a lot. Right. And you made it to your old age, and especially boomers and silent generations, as are the other ones that are left. They make it that far, and just to get kicked in the nuts when they're not at full strength. I mean, come on. No, man, we're fighting for those people too. We fight for the innocents. We fight for those who can't defend themselves. And enough of that bullshit. Enough of the abuse, the cycle of abuse. Financial abuse is part of that cycle. And this is what we're doing right now. We're knocking the shit out of it, man. We're kicking its butt, and they don't like it. And they're going to have to suck it up, and they're going to go back and crawl in their holes and die. All right. That's what's going to happen to them. All right. Let's go now to a lawyer who doesn't piss in your ear, a lawyer who actually adds value when you go and listen to him, a lawyer who can do it all by himself, right? Doesn't need a supporting cast, a lawyer that is extremely cool and treats his crowd right. A great lawyer, Robert Gorbea Esquire. There he is.
Way to experience. It's this little stupid trick that they're trying. Just because you just sat around in an office for 30 years doesn't mean anything.
I'm so proud of you. That's all I want to say. The president is proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Kash Patel moved quickly, reported from NBC immediately after the swearing in, said FBI Director Kash Patel is now ordering 1,000 agents at headquarters back into the field. Get out. And another 500 employees must move from D.C. to the FBI facility in Huntsville, Alabama.
Come on down to Alabama.
FBI officials tell NBC News. There are about 7,300 employees working in the Hoover building now. Most of them are non-agents, just bureaucrats shuffling papers around. 1,000 of you, get out and go do something useful. Go touch some grass. 500 of you, you're going to Alabama. And Alabama's a very nice place, I've heard. I've not been there, but I heard it's great. They're going to enjoy it. So you can see New York Times is reporting the same. It says the timeline for the agents and the employees, not immediately clear, but it's happening quick. Said FBI director told bureau officials on Friday, 1,000 people going back out, 500
he said he's going to do that.
Hey, we read it. Widely expected.
We just finished reading his book. He said this is exactly what he's going to do. And this is part of the solution, part of the fixing. And Andrea died. What's up? He said, roll tide on in. Are you over in Alabama? All right. We're neighbors. Let's go.
To thin out the headquarters and, kind of spread the wealth around a little bit, like Obama said. Remember that? Got to spread it around. The timeline for identifying the employees who would go into the field, not immediately clear. Two former senior FBI officials were probably called New York Times. We gotta go to Alabama. I'm gonna go to Alabama. Oh, no, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. You can like it. In a statement, the FBI said Director Patel has made clear his promise to the American public and that the FBI agents will be in communities focusing on combating violent crime. He's directed leadership to implement a plan to put this promise into action. Mr. Patel had promised to shake up the Bureau last year in an interview. He told the Sean Ryan show, great interview, I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopen it the next day as a museum of the deep state. Then I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in the building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. How Mr. Patel reached this decision is not clear. What do they think? Someone's like shoving stuff into his brain? But a group of former and current agents.
Okay, what they should have said was, I don't do my research and I'm a bad journalist. That's what they should have said right there instead.
His advisory team have been taking stock of the Bureau's operation. Like how he reached this decision is not, what are we talking about? He's the director. It's his decision. How? Like advisory team? All right, anyways. They're trying to make Patel seem incompetent, just to be clear. There's a subtext to this story, which is why I paused on that. And, it's interesting. I noticed this when I do the thumbnails for the show, right? I search for some of those images. I search for Kash Patel. And I often can see the narrative of the media, not from the headlines, but from the photos that show up. And they've got photos, right, of Kash Patel kind of looking like a doofus, kind of like all over the place, like all these faces. Oh, okay. So it's the doofus narrative. And Kash Patel came out last night. He's like, this is effing crazy, dude. So they're going to take that right and maximize that up to like level 15. So just get ready for that. So it's not real sure if he's even in charge. Like, who else is in charge? Is it Elon? Is it Trump? Who's running this? He has directed FBI leadership to implement a plan, which is very racist, by the way. Why are they doing that? He's the first, my understanding is, Indian type person in this position, right? It's all been white dudes. So they think he's not capable or something. That subtext is very racist. Mr. Patel had promised to shake up the Bureau last year.
Racists on the left.
He said he's not the first director to try to reduce ranks. In 1990s, Louis Frey, who showed back up in the Hunter scam, tried a similar approach. But even before Patel took office, they tried to cut this down. Okay, so again, it's like we're already removing these people, so he didn't really change anything because we're already forced retirements for several reasons that remain unclear. Eliminating person.
Do these people not understand that running their mouth right now is a very bad idea? I mean, I want them to do it. I hope they do. I hope they run their mouths all day and all night, because eventually they're coming for you. Oh, you can get all scared and run out there and try to divide and conquer with your stupid media that nobody watches and cares about anymore, except for your mind control victims. We got them, and we got them. We know where they're at. We know how to keep them corralled. Right. But man, all of you people trying to slander and subvert people, man, your days are numbered, and you keep running your mouth. Your days are numbered. And it's not it's just you're going to work yourself out of a career and a job, right? And you might end up getting sued or falling under some kind of subversive statute. Yeah, I'm telling you that the things are coming back around. And those of you who are subverting the system and lying and trying to undermine America and undermine our leaders, you can have your opinions. What you can't do is you can't defame and slander and make shit up anymore. So go ahead, run your mouths, trying to be like that. We're either gonna no one's gonna listen to you, and you're gonna be out of business. Your organization will go out of business for hiring you and having you there, right? Or you'll slip up and say the wrong thing, and you'll end up in court and sued and having nothing. So there you go. Just keep it up. Keep trying to think that what used to work still works. Please do that. I hope you do.
Personnel who collectively had vast experience. Again, time in office does not necessarily equate to experience. It's this little stupid trick that they're trying.
Right.
Just because you just sat around in an office for 30 years doesn't mean anything. I saw this a lot when I practiced law. You'd see these attorneys who'd come out, like their website be like, practicing for 30 years. What? So what? You're a moron. What does that mean? Like, that's your selling point? Look at your results. Look at what you're doing in court. So you're a disaster. But they put on their websites like 30 years of practice. Okay, well, that's fine. But if you did something in those 30 years, the fact that you just existed for 30 years with a title is not that relevant to me personally. And this has been a repetitive thing that we've seen in the media, oh gosh, vast experience. Why? Because they've been there for 15, 20, 30 years. What have they done? The agency is a disaster. All of these agencies are garbage. So what do I care how long they've been there? In fact, when you come in, it seems like those people might be the first ones who need to go because they're at senior positions. You got to come shake them out first. Anyway, support staff, that's where the atrophy is. That's where the gears have been mucked up. Support staff on the 7th floor of headquarters, where top officials sit, were told to relocate to another floor, including former director's secretary. So he vacated the whole floor.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Hey, that's government efficiency right there.
His desire for a clean break from Christopher Wray. So he said,
Yeah,
everybody
please
on
do.
this floor,
Everybody go.
Get out. You're
Goodbye.
all gone. At his
See
Senate
ya.
confirmation hearing, he sought to explain his pledge to overhaul the Bureau. He said that there were
Nice.
about 11,000 FBI employees, 38,000 working in the Capitol, surrounding areas. I will do that over and over and over because the American people deserve resources, not DC. Spread it around. Relocating FBI employees is expensive, and doing so would come as Trump has prioritized cost cutting, right? Because it's going to cost a lot for them to move, U-Haul trucks and things. The administration has already asked for a list of probationary employees, going to fire them too. Former FBI officials raised questions about where agents and support personnel should go and which field offices needed the resources. Yeah, this guy, Chris Pihota, apparently this guy, I don't know where the New York Times got their quotes from, but I think they might have ripped those off from Just the News. But anyways, our friend Garrett O'Boyle, one of the suspendable FBI agents, was shredding Chris Pihota last night. He's like, man, that guy should not be giving quotes to anybody. That guy's a piece of work. I don't know anything about the guy, but that was his take on it over on X. So in other words, this guy criticizing Kash is trash, like that one. Where is he going to put them? He says you need to get in there and see behind the curtains. It's difficult to balance. No, it's not, Chris.
No.
They're going to Alabama. All right, so
Alabama.
that's part of that. Now, similarly, we noticed this, as I mentioned earlier. Where have the Democrats been on affirming Kash Patel's existence and lived experience as a first person of color? The hell
I know. Where's the parade? Where's the celebration? Where's the fanfare? Come on, this is a big win, right? Where are you guys at? Where are you guys at? Oh, wait, you only say that when it serves your agenda and it serves your purpose, right? Because his hiring didn't cause a division of some kind. It was earned. It was really earned big time. Where are you guys at? Where's the big parade? Where's the plaque? Where's the holiday? Where's all the things that you got to do? I mean, you'll get on your knees and kiss the rotten toenails of a drug addict named George Floyd on a made up story, right? But you can't get out here and celebrate our first Indian American FBI director. This is a big day, right? That's a big deal to you guys. Why aren't you out there just celebrating? Why aren't you out there celebrating? Seems a little insincere. Really does.
were they on this one when they were objecting to him? I didn't even think about this, but it's true. It's racist and bigoted of White House and Pencil Neck Schiff and Dick Durbin to stand around there, a bunch of white dudes blocking Kash Patel. Wild. Says Democrats have been notably silent on Kash being the first person of color to head the FBI. Yeah, where were they?
That's right,
Patel's
Jacob.
a fervent ally, and he's an Indian American. He's making history, historic first person of color FBI director. Wow.
Come on, where's your
Senate
DEI,
Judiciary
dude?
Democrats, though, the white Dick Durbin, the white Richard Blumenthal, the white pencil neck Adam Schiff, who's freezing there. We have to block Kash Patel and get back inside. Freezing my Schiff off. Senator Whitehouse Sheldon, similarly, he said Kash Patel, mark my words, will cause evil in this building behind us. Why? Because he's
fucking racist, man.
Indian, and that Republicans who vote for him will rue the day. Bunch of white dudes. Did Senator Sheldon Whitehouse come up with this pathetic line of attack at his all-white beach
These
club?
racist
It's a great
Democrats, man, I tell
question.
you.
Steve Cortez asked that question. It's a great question. Yeah, what were they doing there? Just want to keep it a white dude only club, huh? Trump nominated Kash Patel because of
That's
his
what they want.
qualifications. Nobody
They're
even here
super racist.
mentioned his heritage or sexuality or any of those things because they don't matter. We
Or maybe there's getting on board with meritocracy finally. I don't know.
It's based on competence and the ability to deliver. That's all. We're not like the Democrats who splice everybody into race.
That is the secret to being a success anywhere. Be competent and deliver. Be competent and deliver. And be on time. Early is on time. There's 3 things you can tell any young man, young person in this world going out into the workforce. It doesn't matter if you're the best or the worst at what you do, right? Be competent. The best of your ability, be competent, be on time. Early is on time, right? And deliver. Deliver on time. Deliver, right? Just do these things and you'll eventually get the rest together and you'll move yourself up. No matter what you're doing, no matter what business you're in, no matter what age you are, even if you haven't heard that before, apply it to what you're doing today. Watch the difference. That mindset, don't let anything else bother you. Don't let anybody else get to you. Just follow those 3 little things and you will be doing awesome. And that right? Jacob Castro knows these things. He does. He says it's never about diversity. It's always about Marxism. And he's exactly right. He's exactly right. All right, let's go.
Racist little categories and say, well, your race is a little bit more oppressed than this race today. So let's check the racial stock markets and see who's up and who's down. Democrats notably emphasize diversity and representation both during 2020 and 24, but they don't really care this time. Or what about Scott Bessent too? Prior to 2020, they were screaming about this. They brought Karine Jean-Pierre. That was her primary qualification, a black lesbian. They're like, oh my God.
Oh man, you have to jackpot on that one. Just saw off one of her legs and you'll be like a goddamn slot machine. Woohoo, jackpot.
Brains exploded. She muttered out gobbledygook out of her mouth 2 years after Saki came out. But it was rough, but they loved her. But we didn't get any of the same accolades for Kash or for Scott. None of it, because the Democrats are just bigoted xenophobes. So here was Trump commenting on Kash Patel. He said,
what about Tulsi? Tulsi, Hawaiians are pretty people of color. She's Hawaiian. She's have we had a female director, NHI director? I mean, did I say that right? No, I said NHI, non-human intelligence. Have we had a woman in that position before? I don't think we have.
He's going to go
where's the fanfare? Where's the goddamn parade?
Charge for Kash. One of the reasons I loved Kash and wanted to put him in is because of the respect the agents had for him. I think he'll go down as the best ever at that position. And turned out he was very easy to get approved. I was not sure. He's a tough guy, strong guy. He has his opinions, and I wasn't sure. He turned out to be very smooth. I don't know if he's in the room now. He's going to be in the room very shortly. Where is he? That I'm saying the right thing. I better be careful. I will say this about Kash, and Howard understands this. One of the reasons that I wanted him is because the agents love this guy and they respect this guy, and this is what they wanted. And even somebody like Trey Gowdy, who's a very good guy, but known as somewhat of a moderate person, he came out with a statement that was so incredible. He said, Kash is an incredible person. People don't realize that. When he said that, there was no doubt left. It was really a big statement made by.
Is that a Golden Globe right there? That's the one I was talking about the other day. There's a Golden Globe. I think it got a golden. Did he get a Golden Globe for Home Alone or something? How did he get a Golden Globe? What was he in?
somebody that's respected and on the moderate side. And I will tell you, I think Kash is going to go down as maybe
It might be
the best
something
ever
else.
when it's all
I think that's what it was. I thought it was a Golden Globe, and it turns out it's something else. And then I figured out what it was, and I forgot it. So there you go.
So I'm glad he's willing to do it. Thank you, Kash.
Wow. Okay. So Trey Gowdy, we have to say thank you to Trey.
Yeah, I tried to figure out what that thing is. I can't remember, but
slipped my mind. But I feel horrible about the whole thing.
yeah, totally. Just nervous. Here and gone.
Trey Gowdy. But we do appreciate Trey's influence here. Goddess Kash Patel. Have to send our commendations when appropriate. So thank you, Kash. Now here was a
All right, thank you. Yeah, we saw this in the beginning, so we'll just go ahead and move on. Thank you so much, Robert Gouveia, Esquire. One of the good ones. One of the good ones out there. For sure. Absolutely for sure. And that's why his channel's rocking and rolling, kicking ass, taking names. All right. Doesn't need no help, don't need no backdoor dealings. You can do it all on his own. That's the dude. All right. Where are we at here? Coming up on the hour 30 mark. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing out there? Did I mention for all you who came in late, the new brand of super chats? So we got tiers of super chats you can unlock right now. You can unlock it on 877. Yeah, running 1-800-1877 cash now, and you could unlock a variety of different tiered super chats that will delight you to no end. Gouveia is great, my boy. Yep, no doubt. Make sure if you're new to the channel, if you're stopping by for the first time, we're going to be doing the press conference here coming up, executive order press conference and the White House press conference. We'll take them in chronological order, order of date. So whatever came first, we'll go first. Oh, The Apprentice. Thank you. You're fired. Yep. Okay, I forgot about that. Hopefully with the people who got in now, it will be retiring the zero alerts because everything will be out in the open. Because of course, when it comes out in the open and it isn't what the conspiracy grifters want, they'll be like, "This is so wrong," and they'll make money off of saying it's so wrong, and they'll come up with some more bullshit to brainwash people with. It's like, oh yeah, subvert people with, and think that we're not doing it. That's the worst part, is they're usually under their own kind of mind control too. Oh no, I'm a truther, man. I'm telling the truth. It's like, nah, man. You just don't realize you're under somebody else's spell because they're not sitting in the mainstream media. That's all right. It's a different topic for a different day. Like tomorrow night, when we do stuff like that, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, Unveiling Reality. That's when we talk about the veils of perception, reality, mind control. We talk about right now we're hammering down this very interesting wave of UFO, alien, UAP grifters that are out there. Oh man, they're going after each other. It's fun degrifting these guys and keeping people based and pulling people out of that toxic abyss known as the UFO, alien, and rabbit hole. The UAP and HI, they're calling it now. They're trying to rebrand it. It's the same shit. I'm gonna do a history lesson with you tomorrow night, and another guy who's doing the same thing I'm doing, who's been doing a lot longer in that space right there, and has actually had a great history lesson on crash retrieval scams. So the crash retrieval scams, we'll be talking about that in detail tomorrow night, as well as a lot of stuff about Jake Barber tomorrow night, including threats, kind of veiled threats he's made towards a degrifter that's out there. So we're going to be focusing a lot on that. We'll check back in with Dr. Greer, and we'll see what kind of shenanigans he's up to lately. Basically just running for cover. It's funny how he's never invited to anything, but he's the disclosure guy. He's been talking to aliens. He arranged the handshake and the co-creation and all kinds of bullshit he makes up. Anyways, so that's what we do on that show. But then this show, check it out. Wolfram has reached into his heart and his wallet, and he has said, "Show me something, man. Show me something." All right, so this is a good one because this one right here. This one was we got two that you can unlock right now at $10. This is the one, but there's also a $20 level for this one too. So I'm trying to be clever because see, people don't super chat me to ask me questions. They super chat me to get me to play the videos. So I had to be clever and give you guys more to talk about, or more to play, so you guys have more to look at. So let's make everybody happy right now, because everybody loves a beautiful body. And don't hold it. Okay, if you have a beautiful body, you can hold it against me. There you go. Let's see. I'm gonna give you the Wolfie. I'm gonna give you this. This is for Wolfram, but there is another one. Hold on a second. All right, there is another one that if you unlock it, there's a next level to it, and you'll understand why. I don't know which one to play. I'm kind of like, this is for you, Wolfram. Here we go. All right, who's on? Wait, hold on. That's not the super chat. There it is. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. Zebra alert. So, hopefully, I'm still trying. Is that you got some $10? I think that's a $10 tier. Yeah, I think so. You got a lot of good fun on that one. And like I said, there's another one that unlocks, and then it unlocks at a higher level too. With a you have to figure it out. Part of this is a game. It's fun. It's a fun game. And I think that does go towards our goal. So let me make sure I put a heart on that. How come it doesn't go towards our goal? 10 TL. What doesn't it say 10 or higher, right? If it's not going to work right, I'm going to stop doing these goals, because that should have counted. Let me see. Actually, come on, count, man. It didn't even count. All right, I'm taking it down. Timer ended. Oh. Wait, huh? The timer ended. Oh, I only did it for 30 minutes. Okay, that's stupid. Well, what if I did it right? Maybe it would work right, huh? I'm not even gonna mess with it tonight. It is what it is. We'll get back to goals another night. No need to go over that goal time. Yeah, I know. I didn't set the timer right. I mean, I tried. Like I tried doing this, tried doing that. Okay. Let's get into the pressers, man. What do you say? We manual. All right. 7 hours ago, 3 hours ago. Okay, White House wins again. And there she is. Oh, this one's a lot of fun. Let me make sure I got the volume up. And let me make sure I got winning speed happening. And let's hope that was, I think they got a really good control over this crowd here, and they've really done it right. I mean, I felt so bad for the first run the press secretaries had against the press. They let them walk all over them, and I don't understand why. I really don't understand why they did that. They just let them walk all over them, and it was like, we had that, what's his name, accosted, the Acosta guy. The guy was always accosting everybody. He was allowed to exist in there, and now they're like, you ain't getting in here. Screw you. That's the way it should have been in the first place, right? Remember that? Anyways. Live and learn, adapt, overcome, and excel. That's what we do. So, okay. So, Wolfram was happy with that. Awesome. All right. There she is. She's got a red jacket on and a white shirt today. And she's going to lay it down for us. Let's get those updates going on. February 25th, 2025. Here we go, guys. You are the most informed based crowd out there, and this is why you show up every night to do the good work.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we today? Good. During his inaugural address, President Trump promised that America would be a manufacturing nation once again, and liberal pundits mocked him for it. But those critics were proven wrong once again. On the heels of President Trump's Oval Office meeting with Apple CEO Tim Cook last week, Apple just announced its largest ever commitment to American jobs and industry, with plans to spend and invest more than $500 billion in America over the next 4 years. Over the course of the current Trump administration, Apple plans to hire around 20,000 new workers, creating high-paying jobs right here in America. And the investment isn't limited to one specific region of our country. Apple teams and facilities will expand all over our country, in Arizona, California, Iowa, Nevada, North Carolina, Michigan, Oregon, Texas, and Washington. With President Trump in charge, America is open for business. Apple CEO Tim Cook said it best in the company's announcement. We are bullish on the future of American innovation. On top of this incredible Apple announcement, President Trump already announced more than $1 trillion in pledged investments into the United States. And on another important note that the American people entrusted President Trump to fulfill, this administration's efforts to seal the border continue to prove extraordinarily successful. In President Trump's first month back in office alone, illegal border crossings hit lows not seen in decades, down 94% over the past year, while interior arrests are up 134%. And this past Saturday, this is a significant statistic that I wanted to share with all of you. There were only 220 illegal border crossings on Saturday. This is a 15-year low. Think about that in comparison to the amount of illegal border crossings we saw under the previous administration.
Oh, yeah.
Fox recently reported that a San Diego migrant shelter is closing its doors after saying they have not received new asylum-seeking families or individuals since January 20th. We all know what happened on January 20th, don't we? And yesterday, New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced that the massive Roosevelt Hotel migrant shelter in Manhattan will shut down in the next few months. We're also seeing a reverse migration effect. There are now verified reports from the Associated Press of migrants abandoning their journey to the United States and heading back home. This is the first time the Border Patrol has received these reports since 2020, during President Trump's first term. The returning migrants claimed in interviews that the new heavy security posture adopted by the Trump administration was a significant reason for their decision to return to the countries of their origin.
Wow.
Overall, the American people continue to overwhelmingly give President Trump very positive remarks. Nearly every one of President Trump's policy initiatives are receiving strong majority support. And I have noted that in every briefing since Inauguration Day. 81% of Americans support deporting illegal migrant criminals from our nation's interior. 76% of Americans support the DOJ-led efforts of a full-scale investigation to find and eliminate fraud and waste in government expenditures. Again, this is from a Harvard-Harris poll, a very legitimate pollster. 76% of Americans support closing the border. 69% of Americans support President Trump's common sense efforts to ban men from women's sports. As you all know, we celebrated that executive order at the White House a couple of weeks ago. 65% of Americans support the president's efforts to eliminate all preferences by race in the hiring and awarding of government contracts, which is another pledge that DOJ is working hard to fulfill. And 61% of Americans, vast majority, support the president's plan for reciprocal tariffs to ensure that other countries are treating us the way we have always been treated.
That's right,
Despite
Joanna.
what many Democrats and media members want you to believe, the Trump agenda is not only necessary, but it is overwhelmingly popular.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because it's
We all love
driven
it.
by common sense.
Common sense.
And finally, as you all saw yesterday, a federal
good
judge
people.
denied the Associated Press's emergency motion for a temporary restraining order against myself, our Deputy Chief of Staff, Taylor Budowich, and our Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, for our decision to remove the Associated Press from the White House press pool for certain and special events. The judge's ruling, upholding our decision to deny the Associated Press such privileged access, reinforces the truth. And it reiterates what I said from this podium last week when that suit was filed. Asking the President of the United States questions in limited spaces, such as the Oval Office and Air Force One, is a privilege that unfortunately has only been granted to a few. It is not a legal right for all. The Trump administration has already proven to be the most transparent ever, and this president, the most accessible in history. This is evidenced by President Trump's daily press conferences in the Oval Office, where he takes many questions from the journalists who have the honor and privilege of standing before the beautiful Resolute desk. The president and this entire White House are committed to ensuring the American people continue to receive this same level of historic transparency, access, and visibility. In fact, we want to double down and give even greater access to the American people. We want more outlets and new outlets to have a chance to take part in the press pool, to cover this administration's unprecedented achievements up close, front and center. As you all know, for decades, a group of DC-based journalists, the White House Correspondents Association, has long dictated which journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore. I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations. Moving forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team. Legacy outlets who have participated in the press pool for decades will still be allowed to join, fear not. But we will also be offering the privilege to well-deserving outlets who have never been allowed to share in this awesome responsibility. Just like we added a new media seat in this briefing room, legacy media outlets who have been here for years will still participate in the pool, but new voices are going to be welcomed in as well. As part of these changes, we will continue the rotation amongst the 5 major television networks to ensure the president's remarks are heard far and wide around this world. We will add additional streaming services, which reach different audiences than traditional cable and broadcast. This is the ever-changing landscape of the media in the United States today. We will continue to rotate a print pooler who has the great responsibility of quickly transcribing the president's remarks and disseminating them to the rest of the world. And we will add outlets to the print pool rotation who have long been denied the privilege to partake in this experience, but are committed to covering this White House beat.
But first of all, I just want to thank you guys personally, Caroline and your team, for not having a damn sign language person in the corner. Thank you so much. I, like yourself, understand that people who can't hear, that are deaf, can read. And I'm tired of the discrimination that's been posted against them, that all they understand is sign language, that they can't read English or any other selected languages you can do down here to closed caption now. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys being respectful to that community and getting rid of the sign language person in the corner. Thank you so much.
We will continue to rotate a radio pooler and add other radio hosts who have been denied access, especially local radio hosts who serve as the heartbeat of our country. And we will add additional outlets and reporters who are well suited to cover the news of the day and ask substantive questions of the President of the United States, depending on the news he is making on that given day. This administration is shaking up Washington in more ways than one. That's what we were elected to do. As I have said since the first day behind this podium, it's beyond time that the White House press operation reflects the media habits of the American people in 2025, not 1925.
Sure is.
A select group of DC-based journalists should no longer have a monopoly over the privilege of press access at the White House.
Yeah.
All journalists, outlets, and
suck an
voices
egg.
deserve a seat at this highly coveted table. So by deciding which outlets make up the limited press pool on a day-to-day basis, the White House will be restoring power back to the American people who President Trump was elected to serve. So in that note, in our new media seat today, we have Shelby Talcott, who is a White House reporter for Semaphore. In 2022, Semaphore launched as a global digital news platform with the aim of bringing meaningful innovations to the news industry. Today, they have nearly 1 million newsletter subscribers spanning 11 separate editions. With that, Shelby, I will take your questions.
Thanks, Caroline. I've got 2 for you. One on foreign policy. Over the weekend, the president's special missions envoy, Rick Grenell, was talking about Venezuela, and he said that the president isn't someone who wants regime change. Other administration officials have made clear that they don't see Maduro as the rightful leader. What is this administration's policy on a new government in Venezuela?
I think the president has made his position on Venezuela quite clear. He stands in opposition to the Maduro regime, and Secretary Rubio has spoken on this extensively as well.
And then on Doge, last night Elon Musk said that a failure to respond a second time will result in termination. Will there be additional rounds of the "what did you do this week" email from Doge to federal workers? And what's the guidance on the federal workers who've been instructed by their agencies not to reply?
So a couple of things on this. First of all, let's just take a step back and talk about this idea. The president sent out a truth last weekend to Elon Musk saying he loves everything Elon is doing and he wants him to be even more aggressive because Doge thus far has proven incredibly successful in making our government more efficient. And so Elon and Doge came up with this idea. Elon has implemented this at his private companies. It has proven successful. And it's a very simple idea when you think about it. All the Office of Personnel Management is asking, all this administration is asking, President Trump is asking, is for federal workers who live off of the American taxpayer's dime to send 5 bullet points of what they have done in the previous week. That is all we are asking for. And so the Office of Personnel and Management sent out additional guidance last night. Those responses should be directed to agency leadership, and the president defers to his cabinet secretaries, who he's obviously entrusted to pursue the guidance relative to their specific workforce. And for some of the agencies that you've seen who have said, please don't send these emails, it's in their best interest for that specific agency, and the president supports that. And let me be very clear, the president and Elon is his entire cabinet are working as one unified team, and they're implementing these very common sense solutions. You're welcome. Jackie.
Thank you. One follow-up question. So about the deadline, Alina Habba said that you have until tonight. Elon Musk said a failure to respond a second time would result in termination. So is that a real deadline? Should federal workers be looking to that guidance, or should they be looking to the agency heads? Like, what is the actual deadline?
So again, the agency heads will determine the best practices for their employees at their specific agencies. Again, this was an idea that Elon come up with. Doge worked with OPM to actually implement the idea, and the secretaries are responsible for their specific workforce. And this is true of the hirings and the firings that have taken place. And we advise federal workers, unless your agency has dictated you not to respond to this email. In fact, I can announce that we've had more than 1 million workers who have chosen to participate in this very simple task of, again, sending 5 bullet points to your direct supervisor supervisor or manager CCing OPM. I actually participated in myself. It took me about a minute and a half to think of 5 things I did last week. I do 5 things in about 10 minutes, and all federal workers should be working at the same pace that President Trump is working and moving. We have a country to save, and we want this federal government to be responsive to the needs of the American people who reelected this president to have historic, massive reform. And that's what the intention of this idea is.
Can you clarify one thing, though? Because Elon Musk also said that a reason that they wanted this 5 things email was just to see if people are actually alive, citing that there are some federal workers who might not even be alive.
Pulse check, pulse check.
Meantime, NBC is reporting that these responses are going to go into an AI generator to evaluate whether these jobs are necessary.
Yeah, well, they're
Is it
idiots.
just to see if people are actually working, or is it an effort to maybe cut some of those jobs?
I have not seen that NBC News report, and I haven't heard that from Doge or
Already,
from Elon himself.
girl.
Again, this is to ensure that federal workers are not ripping off American taxpayers, that they are showing up to the office, and that they are doing their jobs. That's what the American people expect, and it's a very simple task to complete. I did it myself, and I was more than happy to do it because I'm very grateful that I'm serving the American people on the American taxpayers' dime.
Hell yeah. You're doing a great
so
job.
That Elon Musk doesn't put out tweets that then confuse federal workers.
Are my press briefings not good enough for you, Jackie? John.
Carol, thank you. In the ruling by Judge McFadden yesterday, who dismissed the lawsuit that AP brought against yourself and your team members here, President Trump, in there he said, why not just do away with the entire White House Correspondents Association along with it? Because essentially they have no authority. They just usurped it. What is your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, John, it's great to see you. And you are one of those individuals who has you're on a streaming platform that hundreds of thousands of people tune into every day. So it's great to see you in the briefing room.
Who's that?
I did address that actually in my opening remarks by announcing that the White House press team in this administration will determine who gets to enjoy the very privileged and limited access in spaces such as Air Force One and the Oval Office. There are, as you know, look at this room, hundreds of journalists who show up to this building every single day and are not granted that luxury of flying on Air Force One and asking the President of the United States questions.
Yeah.
And so we want to ensure, again, everyone has a seat at that highly coveted table. But alas, the legacy media outlets who have been doing this for quite some time and have invested resources into covering the White House, their spots will remain, just like they have in this briefing room as well. Sure.
Sure.
Steve.
Yeah.
Update on the negotiations around the Ukraine minerals deal, and when is President Zelensky going to come visit?
Who is that
So
guy?
the president talked at length about this yesterday, the critical minerals deal with President Macron, and in the more than hour-long press conference he gave all of you in the Oval Office himself. There hasn't been significant updates since the president's remarks last night, but I will just reiterate his position. It's critical that this deal is signed. He expects President Zelensky to sign a deal. This is to recoup American tax dollars that have been funding Ukraine's national defense. And it's also great for the Ukrainian people who have been put through hell because of this war. And it will create a lasting economic partnership as Ukraine will need to rebuild their country because of this brutal war.
And just to follow, is Steve Witkoff delayed his trip to the Middle East so he can concentrate on this minerals deal?
I don't want to comment on Mr. Witkoff's travel plans or read anything out just for obvious reasons, but he remains very much working. That man is working around the clock to secure this deal with Russia and Ukraine alongside Secretary Rubio and Secretary Bessent, General Keith Kellogg. He's also working very hard to secure a peace deal in the Middle East as well. So God bless him. And he's working alongside the president every single day. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. The president's executive order creating Doge called for the naming of a Doge administrator. Who is the Doge administrator?
So the president tasked Elon Musk to oversee the Doge effort. There are career officials and there are political appointees who are helping run Doge on a day-to-day basis. There are also individuals who have onboarded as political appointees at every agency across the board to work alongside President Trump's cabinet to find and identify waste, fraud, and abuse. And they are working on that effort every day.
So is Elon
Reagan.
Musk the administrator?
Reagan.
Thanks, Caroline. I have two for you today, one on the border wall and one on the DHS investigation.
Sure.
First on the border wall. Border wall construction has restarted in Texas and California under contracts awarded under Trump's first term. Is the president looking to secure new contracts, and how is he defining success in terms of border wall construction this administration?
The border wall is a signature promise of President Trump's campaign. He talked about it way back in 2015 and 2016, and people laughed at him for bringing up this idea. It's proven to be not only an idea that he delivered on in his first term and continues to deliver on in the second term, but it's also proven to be highly effective. In fact, we know where there were parts of President Trump's border wall built and standing under the previous administration, illegal border crossings dropped 87% where there was a border wall. So the wall is an incredible deterrent factor for illegal migrant caravans. The president is committed to the continuation of the construction of the wall. And, the previous administration actually sold off the resources that the Trump administration secured to build the wall. And that's an egregious misuse of the American taxpayers' money. They just let those resources rot on the southern border. They actually sold them for pennies on the dollar. So this administration, DHS and ICE and Customs and Border Patrol and Tom Homan and all of the great people who are working on this effort are committed to continuing the construction of President Trump's border wall.
DHS investigation into people who might be leaking within the administration. Will the White House release the names of the individuals that DHS Secretary Noem said were caught leaking details of the ICE raid? And can you share how many leakers have been caught so far and what agency they were a part of?
Yeah, burn
I
them
would defer
down.
you to DHS on the leakers that they have identified, but I know the president in this White House commends Secretary Noem for launching an internal investigation to identify those leakers because it's unacceptable for career bureaucrats who are standing in the way of the will of the American people and enacting President Trump's agenda. If they don't want to adhere to the will of the 77 million Americans who reelected President Trump, then they should go find another job. And if they continue to leak information, especially information that is critical to protecting Border Patrol agents and ICE agents who are out there doing jobs that not many people are willing to do, putting their lives on the line to protect our national security, then those individuals absolutely should be fired. And this administration is committed to finding them. Sure.
Right.
Caroline, two questions for you. One related to Guantanamo Bay, the other to the White House Correspondent Center. I wanted to get your response to some Washington Post reporting of the migrants who stayed over at Guantanamo Bay for the last 2 weeks. They told the Post they were rarely let outside. They were shackled and placed in what they described as cages and alleged that they were not treated as human beings. Does the White House have any response to those conditions?
At
Like
Guantanamo
criminals.
Bay? It's a promise the president campaigned on, that if you invade our nation's borders, if you break our country's laws, and if then you further commit heinous, brutal crimes in the interior of our country, like raping and murdering innocent, law-abiding women and girls, and committing heinous acts of violence, then you are going to be deported from this country, and you may be held at Guantanamo Bay. These are criminals we are talking about. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So U.S. consumer confidence fell this month the most since August of 2021. What is your message for Americans who are concerned about the impact of things such as tariffs on prices?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for that question. It's obviously an important one. The president campaigned on reigniting the Trump economy and fixing the mess that was created by the previous administration. We know they created an economic and an inflation nightmare for the American people. And I'm not going to stand up here and lie to you like my predecessor did about the state of our economy. We understand there are people that are hurting. And this administration is wholeheartedly committed to ensuring that those individuals see relief in price reductions and tax cuts and in less regulations that are burdensome on their household and their businesses. And the president and this entire administration are focused on that every day. I can go through the very long list of economic actions this president has taken. I know you work for Bloomberg, so I'm sure you're well aware of them, but I can assure the American people that the president is very much focused on bringing down the cost of living crisis in this country that was created by the previous administration.
Just have a quick follow-up.
Sure.
Is the president planning on whipping any votes for support for the House budget vote? And if so, to whom is he making calls?
I'm not aware of any calls that he has made. I did talk to the president about his position on this just before coming down here, and he said that he's made it very clear to the Hill what his priorities for a budget are. He said it to the Speaker of the House. He said it to Leader Thune. The Senate and the House know what President Trump wants and know what the American people want. And so he expects Congress to get it done. He's looking at the proposal from the House. He will also be looking at the proposal that I believe the Senate is drafting up as well. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. I have two questions. Does the United States, sorry.
Well, come on, you got to be ready.
Well,
You
why
call
don't
on.
you identify your question and I'll come back to you. Sure, go ahead.
So,
How
what guarantees
embarrassing.
Israel will withdraw from
Gotta be ready.
Lebanon soil after 2 weeks, as the ceasefire terms indicates?
I'm not sure about the guarantee that you're referring to. I can tell you that this administration remains very much engaged. We know the deadline for the phase 1 ceasefire is imminent. So Steve Woodcock, whom I mentioned earlier, and
Yes.
the president's administration and his team and the president himself remain very much engaged. We want to see the ceasefire continue, and the president has made it very clear he wants to see all of the hostages who have been held in captivity in Gaza returned home. Jeff.
Carolyn, I was wondering if is Elon Musk going to attend the president's first cabinet meeting tomorrow?
He is, as a matter of fact. I spoke to the president about that before coming down here as well. And Elon, considering he is working
Cabinet
alongside
member.
the president and our cabinet secretaries, this entire administration will be in attendance tomorrow just to talk about DOJ's efforts and how all of the cabinet secretaries are identifying waste, fraud, and abuse at their respective
That's gonna be a hell of a
agencies. We
party.
look forward to the meeting tomorrow, and I think you'll be hearing from the president and his cabinet where they're
What
on
time
campus
is that?
tomorrow.
Maybe
Hope
we
you
need
guys
to
are
do some
excited.
breaking news
Cabinet
tomorrow.
members were caught off guard.
Guys
by
it
the
up a little
email,
bit.
from
Nobody was caught
Saturday.
off guard.
A few departments said they were caught off guard. The FBI was, the DOJ was.
Did
Only
anonymous
bad
sources
reporters
say
say
that,
that.
or did the cabinet secretary say that?
The cabinet secretaries and others have said that they were not aware that this was happening. So I'm wondering, will there be a give and take tomorrow at the cabinet meeting? Is Elon Musk or the president open to any type of dialogue about who is actually in charge of the chain of command of these workers?
I would reject the premise of your question, Jeff. The cabinet secretaries have not said that. I know anonymous sources, probably career bureaucrats, have leaked that to many of you in this room. But as I said at the beginning of this press conference, everybody is working as one team, and the president respects the decisions of his cabinet secretaries to tell his staff, their staff, not to respond to that email because they did so out of interest of national security, and they don't want to obviously risk confidential information. It's pretty common sense. Dasha.
She just did a spring
Musk
back
has
heel
obviously
kick to
been
that
doing a
guy's
lot of work. He's
head.
been working every day, and a lot of the time weekends. He is designated as a special government employee, which means that he can only work 130 days per year. Is the White House expecting him to limit his work to 130 days, or are you going to work around those rules? Do you want to see him?
Oh, well, yeah, no, they didn't say anything about nights, right? So he can work all the nights he wants to. He'll just move to nights. Easy peasy.
Extend beyond the 100.
So today is February 25th. So I think we've been here about 35 days roughly. So ask me in another 100 days. Daniel.
You opened up with a major announcement from Apple. $500 billion, 20,000 jobs.
Oh, that was good. If you guys like that clip, hit the thumbs up button, all right?
That's such a global brand would make what it calls
The base button, that's a thumbs up button.
just a month into President Trump's second term. What does that signal about
You're
his
based.
economic vision for the country?
President Trump is a deal maker, and he has restored confidence in business leaders around this entire world. Apple is one of the largest companies on the face of the planet. They employ hundreds of thousands of Americans, but the president wants to see more Americans employed, more investments here in the United States of America. And this is another fulfillment of the president's campaign promises. I recall President Trump at his rallies on the campaign telling the world that if and when I am elected, America is going to be back, and we want your investments to be driven onshore. We want you to hire American workers, and you will have the lowest regulatory burden, the lowest tax cuts. And the president has already proven he's committed to slashing regulation. He's counting on Congress to implement those tax cuts. And so people are encouraged by the president's, again, as Tim Cook called it, they're bullish about American innovation because of the leadership of this president. And that's a stark contrast to the leadership of the previous administration, Joe Biden, who I don't think spent any time trying to recruit any investments or jobs here at home. Mary.
We're hearing from some Republicans who are voicing concerns about how these cuts are being carried out. Congressman McCormick, a Republican from Georgia, tells us he's worried it's too rapid for real people to adapt to. And he says he's concerned that it could come off as discompassionate, in his words, that it could risk undercutting the strong message that he feels you're trying to send about the need to cut government waste.
Well, I think that was one comment from one senator. And I think, as I cited in my opening remarks in the poll, the most important people are the American people. And 77% of Americans at home support a full investigation into the waste, fraud, and abuse that the federal government has been spending their tax dollars on. So that's the people the president cares about most. And that's why we're fulfilling this pledge. And again, it should come as no secret to anybody. The president campaigned on doing this.
The president yesterday said, if you don't respond to this email, you will be fired or semi-fired. What does he mean by that?
Again, I've been asked to answer this question 3 times now. It is semi-fired, but it's in the memo. The president, again, has entrusted his cabinet secretaries to oversee their workforce. That's why he nominated them to be cabinet secretaries. And so federal workers can be directed to their agency leadership. Sure.
Great, thanks, Caroline. I wanted to ask about a federal judge yesterday was saying that they didn't know who the Doge administrator was and was asking the lawyer for the administration who it was, and the lawyer responded, I don't know the answer to that. Can you tell us who the administrator of Doge is?
Again, I've been asked to answer this question. Elon Musk is overseeing Doge. No, Elon Musk is a special government employee, which I've also been asked and have answered that question as well. There are career officials at Doge. There are political appointees at Doge. I'm not going to reveal the name of that individual from this podium. I'm happy to follow up and provide that to you. But we've been incredibly transparent about the way that Doge is working. John.
No doubt.
John.
Give it a rest, guys.
Since your last briefing, there have been some personnel moves that have been announced by the president, and I wanted to ask you about them. One was the president replacing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General C.Q. Brown Jr. What was the reason for the president naming a replacement for General Brown? And then I'll follow up with another personnel announcement that's been made over the last few days.
He thinks he's doing a bad job. And it's time for a shakeup at the Pentagon. They failed 7 audits in a row. The trust in our United States military amongst the war fighters is low. The president is shaking up the Pentagon and the Department of Defense, of course, with Secretary Hegseth leading. And he has the right to do that. It's actually quite common from administration to administration to do such a thing.
The president, when he swore him in as the chief of staff for the Air Force, called him a great man and a great gentleman. Does he distance himself from the remarks that he made back in August of 2020?
I think replacing him speaks for itself. James.
One other one. I'm sorry. Thank you. On the FBI, the president also announced a new deputy director of the FBI, Dan Bongino. From what has been reported, and maybe this is not accurate reporting, you can tell me, the FBI director, Kash Patel, informed Republican senators that it would be an individual named as the deputy who was a special agent currently at the FBI. And of course, Mr. Bongino was not. What was the reason for naming Mr. Bongino to this position? And was Mr. Patel not correct in making that assurance to those senators?
I'm not sure if anybody in this room has listened to Mr. Bongino when he talks about the past corruption at the FBI, when he talks about his experience serving for the United States Secret Service. This is a man who loves his country and who has honorably served our country in ways that many people have not. He understands the depth of the corruption at these institutions, which the American people reelected President Trump to shake up. And I think it's quite despicable to see many networks in this room who have had chyrons on their television screens labeling Mr. Bongino as a far-right podcaster. He is not. He is a former law enforcement agent. He is a former Secret Service agent who put his life on the line to protect this country. And that is why the President of the United States has entrusted him for this important role. He's also an outsider to this Washington swamp. And we often see that when outsiders are appointed to such coveted positions, a lot of people in the city get very, very nervous. And they should be, because Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Attorney General Bondi are focused on rooting out the corruption at these agencies and ending the weaponization of government once and for all. I'd like to end with something. As you all know, you know what, James? I'm feeling generous. Go ahead.
I'll take it. Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
I wanted to ask
Don't make
about-
me regret this.
I wanted to ask about the Macron visit and the Russia-Ukraine talks in general.
Sure.
It's pretty clear to my eye that President Macron was performing a kind of delicate dance, lavishing praise on the president while seeking in his own remarks to try to bind President Trump to positions and even specific language that the president has not committed to heretofore. One of the most bracing comments from President Macron was when he said that the deal that President Trump is negotiating with the Russians must not be, quote, a surrender for Ukraine. All of the public points that we have heard from President Trump, from Secretary Hegseth, and from other administration officials talking about these negotiations have averred to, quite openly, to concessions from the Ukrainians that will have to be made. The minerals deal, the abandonment of their NATO ambitions, and other elements. So far, we have not heard any administration official suggest a single concession that the Russians should be prepared to make. And so I wonder if you could assure us, at a minimum, that this negotiation process will not be as one-sided as the Europeans seem to think it is, that in fact, President Putin will also be made to engage in some concessions to reach this deal.
Well, I think the president knows how to make a deal better than anyone who has ever assumed the office of the American presidency. And in order to make a deal, you have to bring both sides to the table. And typically, when you make a good deal, both sides leave that table a little bit unhappy. I'm not going to outline the concessions that the president and his team are engaged in discussing. These are obviously ongoing negotiations, and it would be unwise of me to impede them from this podium. But the president has made significant improvements in ending this conflict. He is committed to seeing an end to the war. He wants to see the bloodshed and the killing stop. He wants to stop seeing young men being killed and slaughtered. This has been going on for far too long. The president inherited this mess because of the incompetence of the previous administration, and he's committed to fixing it. And he's made, some of those concessions clear, but I'm not going to get ahead of him on additional ones. But he is wholeheartedly committed to striking a peace deal in Russia and Ukraine, also in the Middle East. Thank you very much, guys. Good to see you. We'll see you later.
40 basis points.
All right, cool. Let me get it straight here. All right, here we go. Hold on a second. One more thing. All right, there we go. Okay, I think we're good. Yes. All right. There we go. White House press conference was awesome today. And we learned a whole bunch of stuff. And man, she's have you seen anybody like her just command the room like that? I mean, she's doing awesome. And thank God. All right. And I mean, they're totally setting this thing up for success. So I look forward to many great press conferences without a bunch of a-holes interrupting and making it awful and making it useless. So picking butt, taking names, that's what we do here. All right. How did that work? Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yes. Oh, no way. Really? Oh, it'll work out, I guess. Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, we'll make sure it's on winning speed.
Mr. President, is that the call?
Okay, here we go. Executive order time, guys. We gotta jump right into it. Just a reminder, guys, if you're out there, make sure that you please like, share, subscribe, follow, ring the bell, because there's still, and there will be for a while, a lot of creepy elements out there that still want to silence the truth, the absolute truth, the non-sensationalized, reality-based truth. I'm not here to grift you. I'm not here to subvert you. I'm here to free you. And if you like that kind of stuff and you like people that are base and part of the solution, then you'll love this crowd. Please join in. Please be part of it. What the frick is going on with this thing? Spinning around, being weird. Okay. And then make sure that you do that. And if you want to support the channel, you can do that a couple different ways. One of the best ways to do it, as I glitch out for some freaking reason, all right, is to please either join the winner circle. You can do that by here, I'll just do this. There we go. You can do that by joining the winner circle. Easy, tank gas a month. You support the channel, appreciate it. There's so many people who do that every single month. They're right here, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Thank you guys so much. And you can send a super chat, and I have several different tiers of rewards for people who send super chats. You will enjoy the new videos and more, and you help the channel out. You help this guy trying to do the right thing, trying to fight for the future, and try to bring you the best content possible on a daily basis. Do it. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you guys will consider joining us and liking and subscribing, becoming part of the winner's circle. That's what it's all about. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Always do. Always do. Don't know why this video is totally being an asshole, but it is. All I wanted to do is pause it. There we go. Okay. I think everything's okay now. I think everything's going to be all right. And without further ado, since we got time going on here and all that stuff out there, Rumble X and YouTube, thank you so much. Let's get going on the executive orders. These things are good. One of them we already know about. We'll hear what Trump has to say about it, but there's some other ones out there too, and then some questions, and we'll do what we can here. We'll do what we can. Let's go.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, is that the culmination?
And by the way, I guess it's going to stop on its own. By the way, I'll just say the cabinet meeting tomorrow, I may cover that live. Just to do a daytime stream. We call that daytime streams to call. What completely crashed? You? Or me? Am I still on the air? It looks like I am. All right. So if it's during the day and it's live, I'll bring it to you. Our daytime show is called Breaking News. It's really like it's just the best. It's the best name out there for a show during the day. And I hope you're wearing your seatbelt. Me too. I'm sure she was. She's good like that. One of the best out there. All right. But let's get into it, guys. Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you who support the channel and make it happen. Let's go, Mr. President. Just take your time.
Huge.
Okay. I love that. We're having some fun now. Oh, maybe that's them. Maybe that's part of the video. Hold on, let me count the seconds. Okay, I thought that was YouTube. That was the recording. Huge. I don't know what it is, but it's huge, guys. It's huge. It's freaking huge. Freaking huge.
All right, and that's a very big one that Howard just read. But
Oh, thanks, Howard.
big. They're all big.
Yes.
We're only doing big ones.
Big ones. What is it?
Okay.
We don't know what it is. It's big though. You've got to be kidding me. All right, you're out of here. Hold on. That's them, not us. Okay. That's it's you, not me thing right there. Okay. Sorry, it's you. And who totally bombed this? Fox News. What a bunch of cuckolds. All right. Allow me, please, gently, allow me to do better for you. Allow me to do better for you. And I will find a much better version of that. I promise you that. Anybody want to do a song and dance while I search that out? It won't take me but a second. And maybe it's a little bit better. Let's see. Let's go here. What a bunch of cucks. All right. Yeah. Does he still put stuff on his channel? Oh, I guess he does. There we go.
Tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and they feel very strongly.
Hold on. That's not who it was. Let's go. All right. Is live. Commander-in-Chief Ball. President's pray. Nope. Conference today. There we go. All by myself. Gonna be. All right, here we go. It's the gold tie. That's the governor's. That was 4 days ago. 1 day ago. It's all right. We'll get it done. I mean, that one sucked, but I unfortunately am one-man show here, so I can't really find a better one. But the thing is there was like 2 of these things on at the same time. Let me see. What if I just clicked like that? I got some better options in the side here. Side panel? Side panel? I don't want that. I want this. Okay.
They're suing all our companies. And if that's going to happen, we want to be the ones that sue, not them. And they use it almost as a form of running European countries, and the EU in particular has been very violent in its lawsuits against our companies, and frankly, very violent and very bad to our airlines. I've gotten calls from the heads of airlines saying they stop in Europe and they're getting charged all sorts of taxes that they never even heard of. They stop and
talk amongst yourselves for a second. All right, we're gonna have to go with this one because I can't find anything better that has the full Monty in here and everything that we need to have done. So here comes the comically bad one, and don't worry about it. It usually doesn't happen like this. Let's go. Let's go. Nothing's happening, but it's still taking forward. See? They're like, what?
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, is that the culmination?
See, it stops, and then, okay, so screw you. Okay, this is going to totally jack shit up all night long, isn't it? Okay. Where's my Fox News? Go F yourself, man, for your shitty video. I don't know why it's so bad. Let's see. Inside of. You know who usually has this stuff? Yes. Dependable.
Industry feel this is the biggest thing you can.
All right, so everybody's starting at this point. So I'm guessing what happened was the coverage was so bad that everybody starts here. I was trying to find the whole thing for you guys, but here you go.
Industry feel this is the biggest thing you can do for cutting prices, and it certainly is one of them. And it's been unpopular in some circles because people make less money, but it's great for the patient. It's great for the people in our country. Okay, it's not so good for pharmaceuticals. It's not so good for the companies that make the drugs. And I guess you could say it probably isn't so great for hospitals, but they say that if you have a great hospital that's really knows what they're doing, it's actually great for a hospital because everybody wants to go there. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Got it, Doug?
Thank you, sir.
Pulitzer Prize. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have for your attention, another executive order. Copper is a critical material, and the supply of copper is vital to our national security. In recent years, we've dealt with a significant issue of the dumping of foreign copper into the American market. That significantly impacted the domestic production and manufacture of copper and copper materials. This executive order charges your Secretary of Commerce with starting the process to potentially impose tariffs
or other trade barriers to prevent this ongoing dumping of copper and to protect the American manufacture and production of copper.
It will have a big impact. Howard, do you want to say something about
Do you
that?
mind if I read one of your truths?
Sure.
So this is a truth that's about to go out. Like our steel and aluminum industries, our great American copper industry has been decimated by global actors attacking our domestic production. To build back our copper industry, I've requested my Secretary of Commerce and USTR to study copper imports and end unfair trade, putting Americans out of work. Tariffs will help rebuild back our American copper industry and strengthen our national defense. American industries depend on copper, and they should be made in America. No exemptions, no exceptions. America first creates American jobs and protects our national security. It's time for copper to come home.
Come on, copper.
And if it's all right with you, if I can talk a little bit about the digital services tax, would that be all right?
Go ahead, do that.
So I read another truth. This is sort of so fun to read his words. It can't be any better. So our incredible United States economy and undeniable American spirit has enabled the creation of the greatest technology companies on earth. Our digital economy is bigger than most of the world's countries, and the market cap of even one of our companies exceeds every European country. Instead of empowering their workers and creating opportunities, foreign governments have instead tried to tax, fine, and hinder Americans' technology companies. Both friend and foe have been treating American tech companies harshly, as if our companies are their piggy bank. This will now end. It is my objective to level the playing field and end these attacks. We are putting these countries on notice to end their unfair treatment of American companies, large and small. Our companies are the greatest investors in the world. So our tech companies are the greatest investors in the world, and their investments will go only to where American companies are treated fairly. Our ingenuity, grit, drive, and perseverance have built America. If these countries want to participate in the AI industrial revolution, it's time to choose sides with America, not against us. And we signed that on Friday, sir.
Okay, very big deal, right?
Huge.
All right, and that's a very big one that Howard just read, but they're both big. They're all big. We're only doing big ones. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, is that the culmination of ongoing conversations that you've had with your counterparts this particular executive order?
Which one, last or?
The one that the
No,
Congress Secretary
the digital tax is taking place all over Europe. They're taxing us, and they're doing other things. They're suing all our companies. And if that's going to happen, we want to be the ones that sue, not them. And they use it almost as a form of running European countries, and the EU in particular has been very violent in its lawsuits against our companies, and frankly, very violent and very bad to our airlines. I've gotten calls from the heads of airlines saying they stop in Europe and they're getting charged all sorts of taxes that they never even heard of. They stop and they're getting fined and charged, and they do it only with American companies. They're not doing it to other countries, so we're stopping it. And we have another thing, we have another step to go, and if they don't shape up, as an example, Apple has had to pay like $17 billion in a lawsuit that nobody thought was worth anything. And I won't get into the judge or the decision or how the decision was arrived, but I'm pretty good at this stuff, and I think it's disgraceful. And Google's being sued, Facebook's being sued, and many others are being sued by their so-called government, if you call it a government, EU. And they don't treat us right. They don't treat us right as a country. So we're going to protect our companies. We have to protect our companies. So we're not going to have any companies left anymore. I also want to thank Apple, though, for announcing they're going to invest $500 billion in our country. That's the biggest investment anybody's probably made to this date. And they're going to do it very quickly. And that's because of tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariffs, and they feel very strongly about the country. Now, they wouldn't have done it without us. Without the Trump administration, they wouldn't have done it. But they feel very strongly about the direction of the country. The polls have shown that too. The polls are coming out showing direction of the company is of the country is the best they've ever seen. Actually, best they've ever seen. So I just want to thank Tim Cook and Apple for the confidence. $500 billion. That's the biggest investment anyone has made in a short period of time.
Mr. President, have you spoken today with that House Republican holdouts who said they would not be supporting the budget resolution?
Well, I'm not involved in that. They know what I want, and the Senate knows what I want too. And the Senate's got a bill that's very strong, having to do with the taxes, because the taxes is what's bringing all these companies in. So, and without it, by the way, you'd have to double your own taxes. Everybody would be doubled up, and or you'd have the biggest tax increase ever. So the House has a bill and the Senate has a bill, and I'm looking at them both, and I'll make decisions. But I don't know where they are in the vote. I know the Senate's doing very well, and the House is doing very well. But each one of them has things that I like. So we'll see if we can come together.
Mr. President, can you clarify, hopefully once and for all, what your expectations are with this email to federal employees? What are you going to use that information for? And do you see it as voluntary, like OPM has said, or mandatory?
Yeah, well, it's somewhat voluntary, but it's also if you don't answer, I guess you get fired. What it really is, what it is do people exist? We have this massive government with millions of people, and nobody knows who's working for the government, who's not. So what they're doing is they're sending out a letter to everybody, and they're saying, what were the things you did last week? I guess they ask for 5. And if people are working, it's easy. I could tell you 5 things I did last week. I could tell you 5 things I did 6 weeks ago, right? If they're there and they're working, they're able to say they did 5 things during work. And that means they're working and they're with us and they have no further obligation. If they're not, it could be there's no such person. It could be that the person's no longer working. They're no longer living at that address. They may be moved. Maybe they moved to a different country, or maybe the person doesn't exist. And we then take that person off the payroll, and we save a lot of money by doing that. But that's one of the only ways. I think it's a very smart thing. And it says, if you don't answer, essentially, there's a penalty to pay. Like, that's the end of the job.
Well, Musk has said that. The order itself doesn't say that. I think that's part of the confusion. Is he speaking for you when he says?
Yeah. Everybody speaks for me. I'm the one. I'll take responsibility. The old statement, the buck stops here, right? Famous statement. Well, I can say the same thing. The buck stops here. No, we have to find out if people are getting paid and they're not working. And, they have a problem. Let's say they have another job and then they write in false statements. It's a big problem if they write in false statements. They may be working for somebody else, but getting paid by the U.S. government. And that would mean that they're not allowed to be doing that. They're not allowed to be working for us and be working for somebody else. We're paying them a lot of money. We're paying them. So we'll see. That solves that problem. Most people aren't willing to say that, we're doing this, and this for the U.S. government, and yet they're at another job, because that's a big problem for them if they do that. So in some cases, they're not writing back. And if they don't write back, they end up eventually losing their job. We give them extensions, but that was something we thought about a long time ago. We give them extensions, but we'll see. We have to make sure, number one, that we have people, number two, that they're working, and number two, they're working for us, not for another company.
Is it true that President Zelensky is coming on Friday to meet with you, and is the mineral deal sorted out?
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly, it's okay with me if he'd like to, and he would like to sign it together with me, and I understand that's a big deal, very big deal. And I think the American people, even if you look at polling, they're very happy because, Biden was throwing money around like it's cotton candy. And it's a very big deal. Look, it could be $1 trillion deal. It could be whatever, but it's rare earths and other things. And look, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine and Russia fighting. A war that should have never, ever happened. That's a war that would have never happened if I were president. And it didn't happen for 4 years. People say, how do we know that? It didn't happen for 4 years. Would have never happened. And nevertheless, this guy went into this situation and he spent money like nobody's ever seen, $350 billion. The other thing that we don't like is that Europe has spent $100 billion. We've spent $350 billion. Europe gets their money back because they spent it in the form of a loan. And we just gave them, whether it's 300 or 350 billion, nobody really knows. They can't even tell me the answer to that, but it means probably more than that. So what we're doing is now we're saying, look, we want to be secured. We want to get that money back. We're helping a country through a very, very big problem, a problem like very few people have had. Shouldn't have had this problem because it shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. So we have to straighten it out. But the American taxpayer now is going to get their money back plus.
Mr. President, yesterday
Let's
with
go.
Emmanuel Macron, you said you
Looking out for us.
The idea of peacekeepers.
That's what a president does.
Putin was fine with it. The Kremlin, I guess, has said that that's actually unacceptable to them.
Well, that's not what I was told. But you're going to need some form of peacekeeping. So something will be done that's going to be satisfactory to everybody. We need peacekeeping too.
Right.
Any situation
It's
where
actually
American troops involved?
it's actually something I did discuss, but a form of peacekeeping that's acceptable to everybody. Ultimately, we'll be able to agree on something.
yeah.
I'm
With
sure.
Ukraine and this mineral deal, what does Ukraine get in return, Mr. President?
$350 billion and lots of equipment, and military equipment, and the right to fight on, and originally the right to fight. Look, Ukraine, I will say they're very brave and they're good soldiers, but without the United States and its money and its military equipment, this war would have been over in a very short period of time. In fact, I was the one that gave the javelins. You remember the famous javelins? That was me. That wasn't Obama. It wasn't Biden. It wasn't anybody else. It was me. And they wiped out a lot of tanks with those javelins. And the expression was that Obama gave sheets and I gave the javelins. That was a big deal at the time. It wiped out. That was the beginning when people said, wow, that's something. Well, that was American equipment. Without American equipment, this war would have been over very quickly. And American money, too. I mean, a lot of money.
Yep.
That war fighting equipment and the ammunition, that's sustained going forward for Ukraine, and how long is it sustained?
Well, it could go forward for a while, and maybe until we have a deal with Russia. Look, we need to have a deal with Russia, otherwise it's going to continue. But now, when Americans put up their money, the taxpayer money, and the president approves it, we're getting our money back in some form. But it could go on for a while, or it could be settled quickly. I think it's going to be settled quickly. I spoke with President Putin. I think he wants to settle it, and wants to get on with life. It's horrible. What's happening? Horrible. Thousands of soldiers a week are being killed, and others too, but especially on the battlefield. Thousands a week are being killed, and we want that to end. Yeah, Brian?
Yes. Okay. Real quickly, Carolyn Levitt, your press secretary, sent an earthquake through that briefing room earlier today announcing that the WHCA would not have any control over placing media in the seats of the briefing room. Just want to get your thoughts on that. And also on Air Force One. It's trending on X. People are talking about it. Get your thoughts.
Well, we're going to be now calling those shots. As you know, we won that lawsuit right there. See, the Gulf of America, which is a beautiful name. Most people agree. I don't know. It's, AP has been terrible. Look, I think they're radical left. I think they're third-rate reporters. I know the specific young lady that works on the account is terrible. She's a radical left lunatic, as far as I'm concerned. They don't treat us fairly. That's number one. And number two, they had no right to do that. This is the Gulf of America. And if you look at that shoreline, look at that shoreline. Look, from Florida, well, most of it it's called America. And vast majority.
It's all North America. So it's all
big
America.
numbers. So
there you go.
I'm just admiring it as I look at it.
You've done
I'm
it.
getting teary-eyed, but I don't want you to say Trump broke down and started crying. No, how beautiful is that? Look at the shoreline. Look at that.
Look at that.
That's America.
Can I shift our attention?
America.
to Canada real quick?
Yes, please.
Last week, I spent
That's
some
right.
time with two
Rock and roll.
government officials from Canada. I was asking them how realistic is it that Canada would be the 51st state?
Yeah.
And they told me there is a path. Alberta is first, and if they sign on, Saskatchewan would follow, and then you go west to British Columbia. There is a movement in Canada to join us. I want to get your thoughts on that and how that's perceived.
So it's true. Thank you, Brian. It's true. A lot of people in Canada are liking becoming our beautiful, cherished 51st state. They'll have to pay much lower taxes. They'll have the ultimate security. You know, they don't pay very much for security right now because they rely on us, which is really unfair to us. They make cars that we could make, and they send them back into the United States. They make a lot of things, including the sending of oil and everything. We don't need their oil. We don't need their lumber. In fact, we're going to be freeing up, and I've asked Howard Lutnick to get that done with Lee and everybody, Lee Zeldin, environmental. We're freeing up our forests. We're going to be able to take down trees. Right now, you know, we're so restricted environmentally. We're going to be freeing it up with an emergency order. We have an emergency order, and we're going to be freeing up our forests. We have more forests than almost anybody, and great lumber, great trees. We don't need anybody's trees. We don't need trees from Canada or anybody else. In fact, we have to put the slits, as they call them, the area, you know, 50, 60-yard area in between areas of trees. It stops the fires. And frankly, California should have been doing that for years. It's almost getting late. They're going to run out of forests the way they're going.
Yep.
What a shame. And by the way, the water is flowing in California. I hope you people have seen it, but the water is flowing. Do you have a picture of that? I'd hold it up. Do you have a picture of that? Get a picture of it, please. You know, we had a little skirmish in California. I can't believe we had to do that, but we opened up the water in California. The water was flowing into a place called the Pacific Ocean, which for the Pacific Ocean is only a drop. But for us, it's more water than we can use in California. So I'll get you some photographs, but it's a beautiful sight. The water is flowing in California. Beautiful water from the Pacific Northwest and beyond. And it flows down, and instead of being routed out to the Pacific Ocean, and this has been going on for 20 years more in order to take care of a certain species of fish, which wasn't doing very well without water, I can tell you. So that's a big deal. It's like not reported. It's incredible. But California has a lot of water. That's going to take care of farmers. It's going to wetten up the land. And it's going to go all the way down to Los Angeles, where they have curfews on water, where they have all sorts of blocks on water. You can only use so much. We're going to put until just recently, they were going to put a number of gallons per person living in a house in Beverly Hills on water. You're not going to have that problem anymore. Do you have a picture? Let me just see what that looks like. How beautiful is that? Look at that beautiful water flowing. Look at that. That's coming in the dikes and other means of transportation. Isn't that beautiful? Who would believe that? It's all water they could have had. I went to the governor during my first term and I said, why don't you do this? And they said they have an environmental problem with clean water. If this water were there, you wouldn't have had those fires. You had sprinklers. They make people put sprinklers in the ceiling of a home, and they had no water in them. With this, they would have had a lot of water in them. They would have all been full. They would have had you would have had a whole different deal down there. You probably wouldn't have had a fire, but if it was, it would have been small, would have been put out. You had the fire hydrants not working in California. So it's a beautiful site. These are canals that were built. These were all built. And you saw them for years. They were empty, concrete. They call them the V-shapes or the half pipes. And they're shaped different forms, but they're shaped. And they rush down through the farm areas where the farmers can take it and down to Los Angeles. And they were sitting empty for years. And now look at that. Look at that way it looked. It wasn't easy. We had to be very unfriendly to get into those areas. We opened it up.
Mr. President.
I essentially attacked California. Can you believe it? I attacked California. Let's go.
At the outset of your administration, sir, you committed to ending the weaponization of government, to holding those accountable who participated in the weaponization of government.
Hold it.
Oh, yeah.
This is a good one. Is everybody listening? Deranged Jack Smith. We're going to call it the Deranged Jack Smith signing or bill. Go ahead.
One law firm that provided pro bono legal services to the special counsel's office under Jack Smith's leadership was Covington and Burling. As a result of those actions, we're now going to be suspending and putting under review the security clearances for the attorneys and employees at that firm.
Look at Kennedy
who
back
worked with
there,
Jack
like his-
Smith's team. And we're going to continue
His
holding the
enforcer,
people who were
the enforcer.
responsible for the weaponization of government, who supported it, accountable for what they did.
And you'll be doing this with other firms as time goes by, right?
We're looking at sort of the whole panoply of options.
The weaponization of our system by law firms, even pro bono work they're doing just in order to clog up government, stop government. And nobody knows about it more than me. And hopefully that'll never happen again.
Hell yeah.
Covington and Burlington.
Covington going out of
President,
business.
May I ask you a question about Europe? So long term, do you plan to maintain the number of US troops?
Wait, I just
stationed?
want to savor this one, please. Who would like this pen? Hey, why don't you send it to Jack Smith?
Nice.
A deranged person.
So, what do you say to people who worry that targeting an individual firm or individuals who aren't Jack Smith?
Excuse
for
me,
his actions?
I've been targeted for 4 years, longer than that. So you don't tell me about targeting. I was the target of corrupt politicians for 4 years, and then 4 years after that. So don't talk to me about targeting. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President.
Okay, real quick. Here in the last little fraction of the show here, watching Donald Trump sign executive orders and tell us what's going on with them. These are always a lot of fun. But you know what else is a lot of fun? Super chats, super chat clip videos. Here we go. We haven't played any of the $5. We got two $5 out there right now, different ones. We haven't played any yet, but let's enjoy this one. Thank you for the super chat. Talking Trash Juice, $5. You got a new clip. There you go. And thank you. We're only 4 away from meeting our mediocre 30-minute goal coming up here. If you'd like to participate, you can. And they do stack, by the way. I do keep track. So they do stack. So like if you sent one in earlier, you can stack on and get to the higher realms of awesome clips. And they will rotate and they will get better over time. So don't wear them out. I've been using the same two forever. So I just wanted to give you guys some new stuff. Let's go.
There are approximately 2 million federal employees right now. By the end of your term, what do you expect that number to be? What would you like that number to be?
Well, it'll be lower, but I can't tell you. Everybody knows I ran on downsizing government, but making government better. I ran on tariffs and making our country rich, and that's what's going to do. We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very, very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful. Never been done before or anything like this, but it's something that we're going to be putting out over the next, would you say 2 weeks out? Do you want to
2
say
weeks.
a couple of words about it?
Sure.
Mr. President, are there
Wait a
any
minute.
requirements for that
Hang on
gold
a sec.
card? Do you have to invest a certain amount of money in this country in order to qualify for that gold card?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Go
the
ahead.
EB-5 program was really, you lend some money, but it was full of nonsense, make-believe and fraud. And it was a way to get a green card that was low priced. So the president said, rather than having this sort of ridiculous EB-5 program, we're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is really a green card gold. So they'll be able to pay $5 million to the U.S. government. They'll have to go through vetting, of course. We're going to make sure they're wonderful, world-class global citizens. They can come to America. The president can give them a green card, and they can invest in America, and we can use that money to reduce our deficit. Why do we give out lotteries of green cards? Why do we give out EB-5 for green cards? The President of the United States understands that the right answer is, why don't we eliminate the deficit of the United States of America instead?
The gold card, well, millions.
Oh,
But
it's
the
not
gold
making so much
card
sense.
will bring in with it people that create jobs, very high level people. I think companies will pay to get people in. For instance, you today graduate from the Wharton School of Finance or Harvard or Stanford or any college, and nobody knows if you can even go to work for a company. So Apple and all these companies that want to get people to be working for them will be able to buy a card, and if for the people that are number one in their class at top schools, I see that as one of the things. But generally speaking, it'll be people with money and people that create jobs, and they won't have to pay any tax on income outside of the United States, which they're not paying right now. They're not citizens, but they'll have to pay if they create jobs in the United States. They'll pay full taxes like everybody else. So you're getting big taxpayers, big job producers, and we'll be able to sell maybe 1 million of these cards, maybe more than that. And if you add up the numbers, they're pretty good. As an example, 1 million cards would be worth $5 trillion. $5 trillion.
Wow.
And if you sell 10 million of the cards, that's a total of $50 trillion. Well, we have 35 trillion in debt. That'd be nice. So we'll see. But it could be great. Maybe it will be fantastic. We have it all worked out from the legal standpoint.
I'll take either.
It's totally legal to do. Hasn't been done before. It's been done in many different forms. We give them away. Why should we give them away? We shouldn't give them away. And I think it's something very exciting. I think it's potentially just something that we're all very excited about. So it's a gold card. It's somewhat like a green card, but at a higher level of sophistication. It's a road to citizenship for people. And essentially people of wealth or people of great talent, where people of wealth pay for those people of talent to get in, meaning companies will pay for people to get in and to have long-term status in the country. And I think it's something we're very, very happy about. Would you have anything to say about that?
Well, many other countries, by the way, do this, including, of course, your 51st state does that.
And the money earmarked for deficit reduction?
It may be earmarked for deficit, but it actually could be more money than that. I mean, if you did 10 million, you'd have $15 trillion left over. But generally, it's going to be paid down debt. Yes.
Do you need Congress for this? Do you think you need?
No, we don't need Congress. No, because we're not doing citizenship. We're doing the card. It's a path. It's a path to citizenship, a very strong path to citizenship. But we're not doing the citizenship. For that, I'd have to get Congress.
And would all countries be eligible for this gold card?
Depends. The countries largely, the people will be vetted very carefully.
Mr. President, in Ukraine, would you provide military support for Ukraine in the future under a peace agreement?
Say it again louder.
Would you provide military support for Ukraine in the future as part
You mean
of
like
the peace
security?
agreement? Yeah.
Well, people are going to do it. I think Europe will largely be responsible for that. European countries will be responsible.
But Macron asked for a U.S. backup.
Well, we'll see. I mean, right now we're just in the process of negotiating. We've pretty much negotiated our deal on raw earth and various other things. We'll be looking at that security. You're talking about general security for Ukraine later on. I don't think that's going to be a problem. There are a lot of people that want to do it. And I spoke with Russia about it. They didn't seem to have a problem with it. So I think they understand. They're not going back in. Once we do this, they're not going back in.
So on that gold card,
Would the U.S. provide, for instance, air defense?
Well, I just told you, right now we're not providing anything. You know, it's about Europe too. Europe put in 100 billion and we put in $350 billion. It's not a fair thing. You know, we would normally say, and I say it now anyway, but we want equalization. They should put up actually more money than us because they're right there. We have an ocean in between. But we've had very good talks with Russia. We've had very good talks with Ukraine, and we think it maybe will come to an end and we'll stop killing young people all over the battlefield and elsewhere.
On Europe, so do you plan to maintain having military presence in Europe in the long term, like tens of thousands of troops?
We'll be involved. Yeah, we'll be involved in Europe. We're involved in Europe now. Europe is our friend. They take advantage of us on trade. We don't like that. What the EU does, we don't like that. But we'll solve that the old-fashioned way. We'll give them the same reciprocal numbers. We're talking about a reciprocal tax, you know that. And if they charge us, we charge them. Right now, they charge us much, much more than we charge them. And they have non-monetary taxes also and tariffs. And we're going to change that. It's all changing. It's all changing. We're not going to be the people that we were. We had people in this office sitting right at this desk or another model of this desk.
Yep.
Because as you know, the other desk is right now being refurbished.
Is Steve Witkoff delaying his trip to the Middle East?
No, not that I know of. No, Steve. And the Middle East has been great. Saudi Arabia has treated us really well. They really have. And, I think Qatar has treated us very well too. They want to.
All right.
They want to get that whole mess ended in the Middle East. We don't even talk about that anymore. You guys haven't asked one question about the Middle East, but the Middle East seems to be doing relatively well.
May I ask about the Middle East, sir, about the Middle East? For months, even before you were elected in November, you've spoken about your desire to free all of those hostages that have been held by Hamas since October the 7th, a year and a half ago. And just a few weeks ago, you gave an ultimatum. You said if they're not all released by noon on February the 15th, they would be held to pay. Is Hamas thumbing their nose at you, Mr. President?
No, I think the opposite. So, as you know, they weren't going to release any more hostages. And I said there's going to be held to pay. And then they agreed that they were going to release the agreed to release plus an extra one. And so that you could say that was a big difference. But I said it from that point, it's up to Bibi Netanyahu and Israel. I may have taken a different stance, but they did release, they went back to releasing the hostages. But if you remember, they said we weren't going to release any. They've totally ended it. And I said, well, they're not going to release any. They'll be held to pay. And but the rest is really up to him. What I may have done it differently than him. It's not my decision, it's his decision. But they did release all of those hostages. So.
Mr. President,
all right. With about 5 minutes left in the show, I'm going to pause it there. Just questions from here on out. No more executive orders being signed. So I think we're good on that for today. But I want to hang out with you guys for the final 5 minutes of the show or so, and just thank everybody for being here, and also just like take your comments here with this exclusive crowd that's in the house here late in the show. Trump gold card should be the hottest topic in the media pool, and they cannot even acknowledge it. So sad. The mainstream media is dead, and that's just the way we want it too. And they've run out of tricks, and now they don't have the shield to cover them any longer, and now their funds are going to be stripped away slowly but surely. As the American people wake up, more of us wake up. Hopefully, some more people wake up enough to get the hell out from underneath that establishment narrative veil they've been living under, and they get a fire lit up under them, and they come over to the base side of the world and join us in the fight against corruption, and eventually the fight against and still the fight against cultural Marxism and all Marxist authoritarian ideas in the world, globalist to individual. We're doing great on the government level. Like I said a long time ago, there's many prongs. There's many prongs to this war, this fight that we're in against, which is essentially, if you break it down to its root, evil. However, in more terms people can identify with, rather than a kind of a broad terminology of its original intent, is this authoritarian style of government over and this corrupt way of living that abuses people. The system of abuse, the cycle of abuse that has been powering the cycle of control for all of our lives for decades. And we are finally getting down to the point where we can do something about that. Now, the other part of this fight, it's on us. It's on us to make sure the Trump gets 4 years, maybe Vance gets 4 or 8, or, maybe we can hang on to the White House and our government for 20 years. But all these people age out. What do? Do we get complacent, right? Do we get complacent, or do we put in preventative measures, right, that remove the enablement of corruption for generations to come on autopilot, right? And we guard that autopilot system with everything we got. It makes it much easier for us. We're just reporting good things. We're looking at progress. We start talking about really cool stuff, right? Right now, we're talking about all the wars, all the battles, all that are being fought against this corrupt establishment, this globalist establishment, this bought and paid for, rooted in Marxist ideology, force that's been ruling over us for decades, doing the best they can to break the American spirit, to destroy our culture, to divide us as people, and to hurt the future, to subvert the future in a cycle. And now that we're in a position of strength and we're vastly weakening our enemy, we are awarded the opportunity to actually make inroads that could last generations. We're talking to your grandchildren and beyond, as our last for many of us, our last contribution to the world, right? And to preserve the future for freedom, liberty, the idea of good, the energy of good, right? And the idea of free will. So, we're fighting that fight at its root, but they can only do so much. So they're making all the strives and they're winning all the fights at the government level, right? But it's up to us to back them up. It's up to us to do the work on our end, find where we fit in, and find out where we can add to this. I was an early awakener. I gathered a wealth of knowledge over the decades, and now I'm here to deliver that knowledge, to pass it along, to do what I can to inspire others, to give people a place that are in the same position or same place or want to be in the same place, where you can be outside the establishment narrative, but based in reality, and putting your energy towards actual solutions, a culture of solutions, culture of preventative measures that do not infringe upon rights and do not use fundamentalist tactics, authoritarian tactics to do so. This is all in our hands. There's only so much our president can do and his cabinet can do. A lot of it falls on us, and now is the time for each and every one of us to activate and to get going and fight the good fight. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. Thank you to everybody who contributed and did their best to help us reach the goal. And let's see. I think we're good here. It ends in 6 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and just remove it now. But thank you to everybody who tried to get the confetti tonight. I appreciate it. What's this continue to do? Why would I send a super chat? That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? I'll just end it. Just remove the goal. Okay. Okay, it's gone. All right. So thank you so much to Shelly for trying to participate in that. And for everybody who sent super chats earlier where I screwed up and didn't have the goal up. Let's see. We would have made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, if I had started at 5, we would have made it, right? I would for 10. That's okay. But hey, the new super chat system is in place. So I hope you guys will take full advantage of that and enjoy it. And I will always be updating and rotating those super chat different level videos for you guys. And if I can do anything else to please anybody in that department, let me know. I mean, maybe the beach theme isn't ideal for everybody, but if you want to super chat and participate, if there's something that you like, I'll make a super chat appreciation clip just for you. Just have to let me know. I'm very open to ideas, and I always want to be here for you guys. So let me right now look around this wonderful world we're in, and this digital world we're in, and see where I'm going to send you guys, because I gotta make sure that the wolf gets asleep, and it's just about that time. If I don't speed it up, he's going to crawl into his basket and go to sleep. So let me see. All right, let's do good logic on the YouTube side. That's saved. And let me check over here on Rumble. I think we got, yeah. Let's do Next News Network on the Rumble side. Give them some love over there. I'm setting that up now. Bing. Bang. Boom. Oh, what? Why? Why didn't you like it? Web only. Okay. Okay, confirmed. It takes a couple times to get it down. Okay, so that's where you're going. If you're on the Rumble side, you're going to see Gary Franchi, my friend Gary Franchi at the Next News Network. Make sure you tell him when I said hello. If you're on the YouTube side, you're going to see my friend Good Logic. Make sure you tell him winning says what's up. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for Unveiling Reality. We will continue our journey down the UFO, alien, NHI, UAP grift rabbit hole. And we will be exposing the light of truth more on these grifters and the truth about what they're really up to, and exposing their antics, just having a really good time. It actually is it's a lot of fun, a lot of comedies involved in this, because these are these are laughable people and we have a good time. So for those who like that kind of thing and just want to hang out and have a good time with the most base crowd on the internet, we will be here. Guys, thank you so much once again. And until next time, stay based and keep on winning.
If you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands. If you've lost faith in humanity, and this is your villain origin story, if you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands.